Ready? We all ready?
Yes.
Let's hope we remain friends by the end of this.
Nah,
Here's to
don't
a
worry,
good
man.
season finale, lads. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the infallible season finale, the season 2 finale, and we're talking about an extremely spicy topic today, because it's Israel versus Palestine. And I'm joined, of course, by my co-host Sona
Hello.
and my air quotations rival today, Suleiman.
Hello.
How are you two feeling today?
Not too
Psyched.
bad.
Psyched, yeah?
Yeah.
Suleiman, what were you saying? How are you feeling?
Not. So I got a bit of a cough. Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of ill as well, to be honest, so it makes sense.
Because you're
All
weakling.
right, so hopefully we'll remain friends by the end of this, but we are pretty good, and that leads me on to my first thing that I want to talk about today. So in the lead up to this episode, hang on, just give me 1 sec. Sorry, I gotta close my door real quick. My mom's making noise. Oh, for goodness sake. This is the greatest start to an episode we've ever had.
What happened?
Nothing. Hang on. I gotta.
You were in church when suddenly.
What the hell,
Son is
bro?
watching YouTube videos.
I'm watching some
What
stupid
is
stuff.
causing this? What is causing this problem? Oh, this is causing this problem. Okay, I
Ibra-
see now.
Ibrahim's door is malfunctioning.
My door is malfunctioning. Look, it's closed now. I told my mum not to make noise, and she's making noise. All right, cool.
Hmm.
Anyway, where was I? Right.
You're
So
gonna
that
give
Brit.
your thing.
Yeah. So I want to talk about quickly, and this is very important to me. But the idea of this debate is it's very emotional, and there's a lot of emotions going around. We say it's not about religion, but religion does get involved quite a bit here. And so I wanted to talk about, more importantly, the biggest idea of being respectful. When you debate a topic like this, it's important to be respectful because your opinions don't make your character. Now, I'm not going to get too much into this, but because of my beliefs, I've been attacked quite a bit. I've been called a baby killer. I've been called a Jew as a derogative statement, which is something that, I think these people need to open up a history book. I've been told that I'm going to get dealt with, all sorts of things, purely because of my opinion. And people don't like to admit this, but it is true. People start making the politics and their beliefs their personality. And what that leads to is when you criticize their beliefs, they think that you're criticizing them. And so they get very emotional. Newsflash, I'm not going to change my opinion by being called a baby killer. You probably wouldn't change your opinion either if I called you that. It doesn't help the situation, it's not productive, and it's not how reasonable adults should behave. So in this debate, just remember that everyone is a friend. Everyone's a friend here. We aren't in this situation, we aren't in this conflict, and this is a political situation just like anything else. Everyone has a right to their opinion. Everyone should be heard. No one should be attacked. And thankfully, I'm in the presence of two people who know this, but I have experienced things with people who don't know this. So I want to make that clear, not just from this podcast, but in general, when you viewers are debating people, just keep that in mind, please, because it is very important. And that's just my first thing I wanted to highlight. So, Sona, you wanted to highlight stuff as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to. So just before I get into the history of this conflict, just wanted to say that, in my opinion, at least, there are two conflicts. One is much more ancient than the other, and one is
Oh.
about 100 or so years old. Um, Obviously, I think Solomon would have to agree with me on here. Religiously speaking, Jews and Muslims haven't been on the best of terms for a few hundred years, quite a while now. Goes back at least 1,000 years, surely. Um, so there's always been a religious tension between Jews and the other Abrahamic religions. Christians, there's this whole derogatory opinion of Jews across the panel, and
Very true.
that's just religious conflict that is really ancient, and obviously that has seeped into the politics of this one as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Solomon, do you want to say anything about that, or like?
So before we go into this, just let everyone know I'm not anti-Semitic. I know there are people out there that want to kill all the Jews. No, I don't want that. I just want peace on both sides. I know you're talking more about it later on, but I just because I think Palestine is right doesn't mean I don't think people should think I believe I want Jews to die. No, that's not wrong. That's completely wrong. Okay, that's it. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you think
Suleiman's
about
a very reasonable guy. Trust
what
me,
do you
he's
think
he's not
about the
anti-Semitic.
what do you think about the religious conflict that's happened over thousands of years between Islam and
I
Judaism?
mean, yeah, because the thing is, I read it before where it came. It's just I don't know that because it's like my book said this, their book said that. It's like what you believe in, innit? Like you can't debate it
Yeah,
like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's if you're firm to your beliefs, then you're not gonna go to the other side, are you? That's just the
yeah.
way it
Well,
is.
anyway, yeah. All right, so I'll get into the history of it now. Anyone want to say anything before we get into
No,
this?
no, go on, bro.
Now
All
go
right,
on.
all right, cool. So, Israel-Palestine conflict is not an ancient conflict like a lot of people think. That is the religious conflict that we were just talking about. Israel-Palestine as a country, as a political issue that's arisen, isn't that old. It's only about 100 years old. Okay, so I'm just going to go into the history of the region, dating all the way back to the Iron Age, and I'm just going to skip most of the middle bit until we get to the Ottomans. So
Fair enough.
during the Iron Age, this region that I'll refer to as Palestine, but it wasn't called that at this point. Um, this region was ruled by two nations of Israel and Judah, right? Israel and Judah obviously have historical significance and religious significance for the Jews, because they're referenced, many times. Um, and this region gets flip flopped around by a lot of nations, a lot of empires rise and fall. But I'm beginning with Israel and Judah. I'm going to move on to the Assyrians. The Assyrians conquer this region in around the 8th century BC, and they are the first ones to name it Palestine as a reference to the Philistines, who are Greek and who are considered historical rivals of Jews. So I guess already at this point there's a little bit of Jewish hatred going on, but this is way before Islam and Christianity have even entered the picture. So this is a very ancient. The Assyrians weren't Muslim, they weren't Christian, they were following their own ancient Mesopotamian religion, right?
Yep.
Right after the Assyrians, there are many other countries that take over, come and go. At this point, obviously, you know the word Palestine has entered into, the public consciousness. The Babylonians come, the Persians come, even Alexander the Great comes and takes over for a bit. And then we have the first major big empire that comes and takes over, and that is the Ottoman Empire.
Hmm.
In 1516, the Ottoman Empire conquers the land and rules it as Ottoman Syria. So before this, it was Palestine. Now it's being called Ottoman Syria. The Ottomans historically were quite relaxed with their religious views. They were very, very not secular, but they were very, very open to other religious beliefs. In fact, during this region, because they actually also controlled the region of Mecca, right, where Mecca is now. This was a time where actually non-Muslims were allowed to come into Mecca. So
Yeah.
during their time, non-Muslims were actually allowed to enter into what we would now consider a Muslim-only state, where only Muslims are allowed. Um, Obviously, that changed when the Wahhabis came along and took over the area of Mecca. So we know they're quite relaxed with religion, and so during this period, there are a lot of Christians and there are a lot of Muslims in this region that are living relatively peacefully. A small minority of Jews too.
Yep.
And this era goes on for 400 years. So the Ottomans have maintained their hold on this region for about 400 years, until 1917, 18. And that is when Britain comes along.
Of
And
course.
Yeah, and then they come along and they take over this region of Palestine, and they call it the British Mandate of Palestine. So Palestine enters again into the dictionary, and this power is supported by the League of Nations at the time. During this 1900s period, so early 1900s, there are two sort of factions that are developing, okay, that we need to understand. At this time, there is a development of a distinct national identity amongst Palestinians who recognize themselves as specifically Palestinian, not just Arab. Okay,
Okay.
and at the same time, in Europe, we have the beginnings of the Zionist movement, who are trying to establish uh, a Jewish homeland and a Jewish national identity rather than Judaism just being a religion. And both these movements are becoming very popular. So Jews see. So during this era of the Zionist movement, the Jews at this time, who are adhering to this political movement, the historical homeland of Israel and Judah as their best option. Obviously, we know that was what the region was called in the 8th century, right? The Iron Age. Um, and as a result of that, thousands of Jews begin migrating to Palestine, right? Thousands, hundreds of tens of thousands.
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of tension between Jews and Arabs at the time because, obviously there's now these thousands of people saying that where you've lived your entire life is technically belongs to them. Obviously, it's no all-out war yet. It's just some political tensions happening at the time, and this causes the British to limit Jewish immigration to the region. Obviously, this is now seen as the British getting involved in Jewish affairs, and so this even heightens the conflict even more. And so now there are Jewish and Arab militias that are forming. And then a really big event happens, and that is the Holocaust.
Yep.
So now Jews are being killed left, right, center. It's becoming a real problem, and Jews are being displaced everywhere, running away from Europe, and that just causes more people to move into Israel. And so in 1947, there is a UN proposal that Palestine will be divided into two states, Israel and Palestine, and the British mandate will be removed. Okay?
Yeah.
The Jews agree to this. The state of Israel says, yeah, sure, that's fine. However, the surrounding nations, i.e., Egypt, Jordan, these countries that are Arab, are not okay with this, and they see this as British imperialism coming in and taking over land that belongs to Arabs, and so that triggers the Arab-Israeli war. At the end of the war, Israel wins, obviously with the help of American investment and British investment, and they take a whole lot more land than what was initially agreed upon during the UN proposal. And that is just the spoils of war, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that pushes a lot of Palestinian civilians out of their homes now, because this the Israeli military has moved in and occupied the region as part of war. And then a second war happens. A second conflict happens. The 6-Day War in 1967. So we're jumping ahead about 20 years or so, where this whole. So initially, Israel has more region, and there's only a small amount that is technically Palestine. And during the 6-Day War, Israel takes all of the land.
Yeah.
And there is technically nothing that is now recognized as an independent nation of Palestine, because all of it is Israeli. And that's unfortunate. That's sad, because well, for me at least, obviously that there have been tensions between Israelis and Palestinians for so long, and now Israel as a country has control over the entire region, including all the Palestinian people, right? So obviously that means that there's going to be some level of like discrimination, right?
Yeah.
Especially if they control all the resources that come in and out of the country.
Yeah.
Um, During this time, a movement in Palestine called the Palestinian Liberation Organization develops, and this is to fight Israel and to end the Israel state. So they don't recognize Israel as a state. However, they later accept a dual nation proposal by Israel. So they're sort of like a political party that wanted to get rid of Israel, and now they're sort of okay with the whole idea of Israel and Palestine
Yeah.
coexisting. Unfortunately, during this period, more Israeli settlers are moving into Gaza and West Bank, which was originally agreed upon to be part of Palestine. And that causes more Palestinian homelessness. I think there are around 7 million now at this point that technically have been removed from their homes by Israeli settlers. This is internationally recognized as illegal, right? But no one,
Yeah.
at this point, no one does anything about it. But yeah, just wanted to make sure that this is recognized internationally as an illegal move by Israel, but not the Israeli government, just Israeli settlers.
Yeah.
And then the first Intifada happens, right? First uprising in
Yeah.
1987, where basically Palestinians just caused riots everywhere and just wanted to like basically try and uprise against Israel. And eventually that ends, but it leads to the formation of Hamas, which is sort of like PLO, but way more extreme in every way and does not recognize any Israeli state. They want all the land from the River Jordan to the sea, which is where that saying comes from, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, that saying.
Yeah.
Um, that is where it comes from. And after that, a second intifada happens, and this one is way bigger, a lot more riots in the early 2000s. And because of that, that shifts Israeli politics to the right. So that means Israeli citizens now see Palestinians as basically savages that don't want peace at all, and
Yeah.
that causes political parties like I always struggle with his name, Netanyahu, to come to power.
I think it's Yahoo or
Uh,
something. Netanyahu or something.
yeah, and obviously that's where we are now.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. So anyway,
I
yeah,
think I think from that already you can tell like how it's very ambiguous.
yeah, yeah. A lot has happened. Solomon, what do
Yeah.
you think?
I don't know. Where do we start on it?
Well,
Because
so by the way,
Yeah.
so did you mention Land for Peace? Israel's Land for Peace.
Land for peace.
So when Israel gave back the land in exchange for peace.
Oh, right. So I think you're talking about the Oslo Accords. Is that what you're talking about?
I believe so. I forget the exact name.
Right. So that was in 1993. That wasn't Palestinian land. It was Egyptian land
Yeah.
that was
It wa-
returned. I think it was Mount Sinai that was given back
so
to
yeah,
Egypt. But technically it wasn't Palestinian land. So
Egypt owned Gaza and I think Lebanon owned the West Bank. Oh no,
uh,
was it?
uh,
I believe so.
I think Jordan might have owned it, but I'm not sure.
Hang on, I got it written down somewhere. I'll find it.
Anyway, yeah, Solomon. So, what do you think of the history? And tell me if you have any opinions.
I mean, from obviously listening to you, it's quite. I don't know. It's hard because the thing is, obviously, I don't know. Obviously, what I've heard is crazy. Like the war that's been happening over the last I don't know how many years, but it's like because the thing is, yeah, is that let's say for example, someone comes into your home, right, and they
Mm.
take I don't know, they take everything. Would you not want to fight back? Let's say,
Wait,
Fair
Suleiman,
enough.
Suleiman, hold
uh,
that thought. Hold that thought. I'm about to start your 5 minute timer. Yeah, you say all of this right now because this is
Okay,
the
yeah.
perfect timing.
Because
uh,
Ready,
Ibrahim's
Suleiman?
gonna try and
yeah, I'm
try and
ready.
rebuttal you after
Uh,
this.
No, no, I'm not.
uh,
Mine is pre-made, so like you don't have to worry about that.
All right,
But
so
this is
we're
just a
gonna.
5 minute opening statement. Yeah.
You ready?
Okay.
All right. So
What's
we're
up?
ready. Three,
Yeah.
2, 1, go. 5 minutes,
All right.
uninterrupted.
So basically, I think what it is let's say someone comes into your house and they say, "I want to live here," but you know what? But if you fight back, it's seen as how they call Hamas a terrorist. But like you just want your house back. Does that make you a bad person then? If you want to fight, if you want to like basically fight to take your home back, would you be seen as a bad thing, as a bad person or organization? That's my question I want to ask because the thing is, what's happening is that they're seeing how much. Okay, what they did was wrong when they went into the Israelis, they killed all those people, but at the end of the day, they've occupied all of that area and it's basically oppression, isn't it? Like they have no rights, like they're basically worthless people. Like like Tuna said, two-state solution. That's what I believe will happen or should happen. I know you're talking more about in detail, but yeah, that's it. That's my thing.
You still got 3 minutes if you want to add more.
Uh, I'll probably think of something later, but top of my head, it's sort of I'm just trying to think.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
All right, cool. Sona, do you have a 5 minute or should I go next?
I think you should go next because I just
yeah. Go on.
explained all the history.
Before I start my timer, I'll just quickly also say that in the podcast today, we're not going to talk about super recent events because it's
Yeah,
hard to confirm. It's subject to change. So, say, I guess a week from before, we're not going to talk about. So, for right now, as of right now, it's the hostage situation right now, right? The
Mm.
yeah,
releasing of, so we're not going to discuss that because we don't have all the details. So, it's
yeah,
subject to change. But things
Also,
like
also,
October 7th and the hospital bombings, we can talk about.
yeah. Also, in this era, it's so hard to verify, man. We're living in an
Very true.
era. It's so amazing because I'm doing government politics, right? In uni of China, and they show us these posters of blatant propaganda.
Yeah.
But but in the future, they're going to be talking about this and saying how blatant propaganda is and all this. And it's sick. It's almost it's amazing to actually see it in real time.
It's so
Propaganda.
true.
So this is going to be a historical thing. We're going to be part of history. We
You
lived
know,
through COVID and this.
you know where most people get their information from? Instagram. That's where most people get their information from. So like it's so hard. Most people like it's you can't verify this stuff. It's really hard. And like the
Mm,
the kind of like journalism that goes on is shameful, man.
mm.
But okay, do you guys want to start my 5 minutes or do you not trust me to keep
I
myself
trust
on
you.
time?
I trust you. I trust you.
All
go
right,
on,
cool.
bro.
Hang
Go.
on, let me just make sure I haven't said it. Okay, cool. 3, 2, 1, go. Right. So I stand in solidarity with Israel, and I would never raise the Palestinian flag. I'm just going to briefly go over some reasons why in my 5 minute opening, and then we can discuss these more after. So I won't raise the flag because I care about the civilians in Gaza. Because while I do care for Palestinian lives, I don't care for terrorism. Most who do scream for genocide, either knowingly or unknowingly. I will not raise the flag until the Palestinians want to live in peace, side by side. And you might think, well, they do. They don't. Remember something very important. We have grown up with Western values and they don't have that. They don't think like us. The fact is, in Hamas's 1988 founding documents, they literally have these as crucial points: destroy Israel and establish an Islamic theocracy in Palestine, and that's essential. Unrestrained jihad is necessary to achieve that. Negotiated resolutions of Jewish and Palestinian claims are unacceptable, and there's plenty of other historical anti Semitic tropes that reinforce those goals. Now, people try to deny that, but who better to believe than Hamas themselves, who are claiming these things? Also, note that 53% of Palestinians have voted Hamas into power, and you realize that if Israel puts their weapons down, we get Holocaust too. But if Hamas does, we can begin negotiations for a two-state solution. Now, historically, Palestine don't have a claim to the land either. Most people like to bring up 1947 when the British partitioned the land. Well, not exactly, but why do we stop at that arbitrary point in time? Why don't we talk about the facts that the Jews came first? Why don't we talk about 110 AD when the Romans took control of Israel, the city was burnt, and Jews were expelled from their homeland? Why don't we go there? Even still, this doesn't even matter because nobody has a claim to the land with history. That's not how it's ever worked. If you think that's the case, why don't the Americans return their land to the natives that lived there? Just because your forefathers lived in a land before you doesn't mean you get to own the land. The Ottomans conquered it, naturally Arabs moved in, then the British did, so they get to decide how it is. The power dynamics change as lands are conquered. That's just how the world works. Israel was attacked by Palestine, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon in 1967, trying to commit a genocide. The Israelis won, fought for their lives, and they captured extra land, the spoils of war, including the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, from a group trying to murder them. That's what happens when you win a war. Despite this, the land was returned to the Palestinians. The world isn't a fantasy land. Israel fought for its very existence, won, and gave the land back. All they asked was not to be murdered, but Palestinians continued to attempt to kill them, leading to today. If Israel wanted to, they didn't even need to return the land back. That's what happens when you win a war. Now, the big one is the killing of Palestinian civilians. Usually, this is argued by showing videos of atrocities and shouting the words genocide, ethnic cleansing, women and children over and over. Now, I'll repeat this as many times as I have to. The deaths of civilians and atrocities are disgusting and horrible. The civilians didn't cause this war, Hamas did, yet they suffer, while Hamas is stockpiled with food and water, and their 3 founders are collectively worth 11 billion. These people often call Israel evil, but the question I have is this. What can Israel do exactly? They can't cease fire or do nothing since Hamas will just rebuild and attack again. They can't get to Hamas without injuring civilians since Hamas hides behind civilians. So what are they to do? Here's another question. In World War II, 1 million British citizens died. 4 million German civilians died. Civilians. There aren't any monuments of German civilians in Britain because, like it or not, casualties are an unfortunate consequence of war. So I ask, which is more evil? A group trying to kill terrorists and hitting civilians as a consequence, or a group purposefully killing civilians? That's why I'll always say, free Palestine from Hamas. This is often considered a genocide, but it isn't. Firstly, don't you think if Israel wanted a genocide, they would have completely annihilated Gaza by now? Secondly, Gaza's population has always been rising steadily. So if it is a genocide, then it's the biggest flop in history, or more likely, not an attempt at all. Final point, I'd like to bring up selective outrage. Where were you all when ISIS was launched and thousands of Libyans, Syrians, and Iraqis were beheaded? There have been many Arab dictators in the modern era, where thousands of Syrian and Libyan killed thousands of Arabs. Where were you then? Where were you when Saudi Arabia, backed by other Arabic nations, killed 400,000 Yemenis? Why is it when only a non-Arab country defends their right to live, then you gain a voice? You can't possibly say Israel is more brutal than Hamas. Hamas has launched more than 8,000 rockets into Israel, aiming for civilians. The difference in numbers is because of the Iron Dome, something Israel built to protect its civilians. And I stop my discussion with 13 seconds on the clock. Boom. All right, I'm done. You guys,
That was extremely compelling.
that was very fast, wasn't it? I'm scared I might have to slow that down a bit in the video
That
or
was
something.
that was very compelling, actually.
Thank you.
What I will say is, it is possible to condemn Hamas and also condemn Israel at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's true.
Sean,
That is true.
that's exactly my point. Okay, people that say could ask people, Muslim pro-Palestinians, do you condemn Hamas? But then if you should condemn the IDF as well. It works both ways. You can't.
Remember, there
Okay.
is remember there
Sorry.
is never a good side in a war. There is no good side. There's only
Hey,
bad.
Right.
hey,
Okay. So yeah. Go ahead.
so,
Simon.
so, hey, this is not a war. Okay, let me just say my reasons.
Solomon, do you want me to start your timer again?
And
No.
sorry,
No.
yeah,
Forget
it's just
timers, man.
discussion.
Forget
It's just
timers. Let this be
discussion.
free
Alright,
flow.
cool.
Yeah. All right.
Alright, free
So
flow now. Starting
so,
now.
sorry, it's not a war. Actually, why? Hamas. Do you really think if this Israel Palestine conflict it happened? So let me rephrase my thing. I'm
Take your
doing
time.
I'm doing it from the top of my head, so I have to think about what I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Actually,
no,
no,
take your
you go
time.
first. You go first, and I'll just think about because
Cool,
I've lost
fine.
my train of thought.
All right. So I knew Ibrahim would approach this quite philosophically with the whole argument of if the land has always changed hands, then who does it really belong to, right?
Sort of, yeah.
While that makes sense logically, I think it has incredibly negative humanitarian connotations, right?
Yeah,
I
what do you mean?
i.e., in practicality, any country, by that argument, any country that invades another country and oppresses its people now rightfully owns that country. Is that something? Is that a principle you adhere to?
I don't think it's necessarily oppressing though. Like that's not necessarily a thing. But throughout history, it's always been this way. It doesn't matter
Okay,
if you
no.
don't like it. It's just always been
I
this way.
know, I know, I know. But what I'm saying is, do you agree with it as a principle?
I don't like it, but it is the reality.
Okay, that's the reality. So my problem with that is that when you can stop it, you should stop it. Would you agree with that?
What do you mean by that?
If you were trying to stop an imperialist power from taking over your land and you had the opportunity to stop it, do you think they should be able to stop it?
I mean, if you want to like declare war and if you believe you're right, then I mean, no one can
No,
stop you from.
to keep your land. Yes or no?
Yeah, you can declare war, but that's fine.
Right. So then I don't understand how that means that the Palestinians are bad, but the Israelis are good.
I don't think that's what I was arguing. I was arguing that Israel isn't bad. Because people often claim that Israel came in and they stole the land from the Palestinians because the Palestinians, like, it's their land. But I don't think that's the case.
But what you're arguing is that technically it's no one's land, and that anyone who comes in
I think,
takes it over. It's theirs now.
yeah, I mean, that's how it's supposed to work. The Ottomans conquered it, so it was land with the Ottomans. Arabs moved there. When the British conquered it, it became British land. That's what they were able, they could do what they wanted with it. Do you
Yeah,
think that Americans should return their land to the natives in that case?
I think that they should. Well, America has a weird system in which it does have some areas that are locally governed by natives, right?
Yeah, but like the large majority of the area was native first, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is, America does play, play good, play behave itself when it comes to the natives by giving them land and saying you have autonomy over that land, i.e., American laws don't come into play in these
There's
specific
many
areas,
there's
right?
many natives who would disagree with you on that, to be honest.
No, what do you mean? Disagree with me on the fact that there are autonomous
Well,
pieces of land?
they would want more land. They're not happy with just the
Oh no, but
pieces. Like it was all
yeah,
theirs
fine,
before.
fine, yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is they still give them land to have complete autonomous control over, right? That
So
belongs to them,
are you saying
right?
if Israel gave a God like Palestine land, it would be as equal or something?
What to have autonomous control over?
Like in your example, you mentioned, yeah, America and autonomous control. So do you believe that in the same way?
I wish it would, but I don't think it would quell any conflict because I think both sides have entrenched themselves so deep that they won't stop until one or the other is destroyed. Um,
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, Hamas literally like it's in their charter that they won't accept peace as an
right,
like they won't accept a negotiation for
right,
two state, and
right.
they're the governing power.
Okay. So what I want to say is that well, I think I've forgotten my track of thought. Um,
If you want, I can give us some points to keep
no,
us
I had
on
a good
a line.
argument, but I've forgotten it. It just was at the tip of my tongue, but I've forgotten it. What I'm saying is basically, oh yeah, I remember now. So the media,
Go on.
yeah, the way the media report this stuff, right?
Mm.
They will always portray the most extreme sides of both,
To
right?
get clicks, yeah,
Yeah, to get clicks. That's why it's to rage bait is to make money, bro. Okay?
yeah.
It's to keep you longer on the app and get annoyed at things, right? I've seen it all the time. It happens with YouTube all the time. When I see
You can't trust the media at all.
Christians and stuff like writing a comment that's just so obviously wrong, and I want to respond because it's so wrong, but I know that's what it's trying to get me to do, right?
Yeah,
So you just got to avoid that. What I'm saying is that whole that I think that's called I think it's called like a brick in the wall fallacy, i.e., it's one aspect of this argument, and people frame their whole idea around it. I.e., so
yeah,
you basically say most Palestinians want Israel like to be completely dead or whatever, or most Muslims in these areas hate basically Jews, And you're right about that in some aspects, but I don't think that reflects the entire
Well, I
movement.
didn't say that exactly, but I said that 53% of Palestinians voted Hamas in. I think that's significant enough.
Yeah, it's over half. But
Yeah, so it's significant enough.
right, but then okay, so in that case, what would you have supposed the Palestinians do instead?
I think they need to get rid of Hamas. Like, if you're talking about how peace can be achieved, I think Hamas needs to go because
Right,
that's the
but
only real way.
okay, but
No,
you understand. Okay, yeah. So I just want to say, you understand that now Israel has complete control over the region and they control all resources that come in and out, right?
Yeah, I know.
Now, if a nation of people historically had conflict with your people, but they now control all the things that happen within your nation, surely there's a bit of conflict of interest there, right?
I mean, obviously, I'm not expecting the Palestinians to be like, "Oh yeah, that's okay, I accept it." Like, I don't expect that.
No, but
But
what you expect the Israelis to act fair. That's what you're.
somewhat, some not
But they're not
really.
gonna do that, bro. There's
Well,
so
they
much.
won the war, to be fair. They won the
But
war.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that idea of they won the war has negative implications. It's like saying if the Nazis won the war, then they have right to exterminate all the Jews.
Wait,
They
so what
don't have
should
a right.
Israel do? What should Israel do, knowing
Okay,
that
yeah.
Hamas
So
is just going to keep attacking?
I'll answer.
listen. No, sorry. I
Yeah,
still
go on,
answer.
Sullivan.
What?
Oh,
Can
is
I
this
just
is the big question,
sorry,
isn't it?
sorry. Why do you keep saying I'm not even obviously Hamas? Like the thing is, yeah. Okay, let's say if someone attacking your country, would you not want to stop it? Would you not want a defense? No,
The
that's
reason I
like no,
the
but
reason
no,
I the reason I keep saying Hamas is because this is a
yeah.
war on Hamas.
No, but like
No,
even Hamas,
no, I
no,
wouldn't say that.
that's no
Yeah.
because no
No, the
because
victims have been overwhelmingly Palestinian civilians, haven't they?
listen,
Yeah, but they're trying to
listen,
kill
listen,
Hamas. Oh yeah,
listen,
let Sullivan
listen,
talk.
listen,
Supposedly.
listen,
Let the man
listen.
speak, Sullivan.
And listen, if you want to fight, let's say we have a Nazi whatever, right? They had a
Yeah.
war, just neutral, right? It was whatever the two sides, I can't remember. Anyways, if you want to fight the Hamas, yeah, do it man to man, bro. Do it man to man.
But it
Stop
is man to
bombing.
man.
No, but no, it's not because you're killing innocent civilians. Yeah, because they're hiding under the hospital bomb, hospital, which is a load of BS anyway, which is also confirmed by the BBC as well. Which we go into uh later on.
BBC cannot be trusted,
No,
man. I'm
no, no, no.
sorry.
Let me. Can you please let me finish, and then you can carry
Sorry,
on. Please.
sorry,
All
Okay.
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies,
Oh, you
apologies.
forgot. You lost my train of thought now. What was I gonna say?
You're
Yeah.
talking about
You're
BBC.
saying
Yeah.
man to
Yeah.
man hospitals,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Basically, just like the thing is, yeah, when there's two war, as you claim as a war, right? They should fight man to man. The IDF and Hamas fight together, like I mean, face to face. Innocent
Okay.
civilians don't. Innocent civilians don't need to die. That's what I'm
Okay,
trying to say.
let me
But can I
respond to that.
respond?
Let me
Can I
respond.
wait? Can I respond to that, Ibrahim?
He
Yeah,
was
go
addressing
on,
me.
go on,
Okay, okay.
go on,
No,
go
you
on, go
can
on.
go. You can go. Go, go, go.
My sides because you're both on right. Solomon, I just want to say, yeah, Hamas don't fight man to man though.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Hamas don't, bro. They hide, and then they attack. They do sneak attacks. That's
Solomon,
the tactic.
you've been watching your Muhammad hijab, innit? You've been watching your Muhammad hijab. I know.
No. Forget that. I just want to. No, don't take the mick out of what Solomon's saying. I'm just
No, no, I'm
saying.
not taking the mick out of him. I'm taking the mick out of Muhammad hijab, the guy.
Yeah, Muhammad Hijab is a bully. But anyway,
He's a
uh,
the,
Solomon, what I'm saying is, do you agree, right, though, that Hamas do hide? That
Yeah,
is their
obviously,
mission because
obviously,
they
that's it.
obviously
Yeah, I
they're
know, I know.
over. Obviously the
Yeah,
Israeli
yeah,
forces are way more powerful and bigger.
yeah. Obviously,
You
100%.
got
Yeah,
you got no choice but to hide. And
obviously, 100%. Yeah.
so then when you say they should fight man to man,
So,
Hamas won't do
so,
that.
also,
yeah,
this Israeli casualties would be way higher if it wasn't for the Iron Dome, like because of these missiles.
No, don't support the Iron Dome, man. The Iron
What's wrong with
Dome.
the Iron?
No, you said the Iron Dome was to protect Israelis, but it's also to control movement of Palestinians too, right? So it does
Well,
both.
I'm
It
using
does
it.
both.
I'm mentioning it as a defensive. Like it does. You can't deny that it is used for defense as well.
No, but it does two things. It's like saying the British
Well, I'm
developed
not.
railroads in India, and that helped India. When all the railroads, all
Well,
they
I'm
did
not.
was take resources out. It's not a good thing.
I'm not justifying the thing. I'm just saying that explains why there aren't as many casualties.
But intentions matter, don't they?
What do you mean?
Intentions matter. Why the wars are built was to control Palestinian movement. and then it was said that it was to defend. Okay, cool. It might do that, but it killed two birds with one stone. It also means it restricts Palestinian movement within the
Okay, but
nation.
even if we say the Iron Dome is wrong, right? It doesn't take away from my point though at all.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Anyway, Solomon, continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, that's I can't remember now. I forgot. So no,
Okay.
It was
you
about
carry on.
Hamas.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, this whole thing is about Hamas, bro.
Wait,
What's I
I thought someone said it's not.
I
What?
can't remember. What?
Someone said it's not. I said it was about the war is on Hamas, and you said no.
Oh yeah, no,
No,
it's not. No, let me say
So
yeah,
there you
something.
go.
yeah,
So
go
go on,
ahead.
Solomon. You can explain that one.
I forgot what I was gonna say now. My thing. And if someone else carry on, I need
All
to
right,
remember what I was gonna say.
let's do this the way that we normally do an episode because I think
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
keep us on track because we
yeah,
keep
yeah,
going wildly.
yeah, yeah. I keep forgetting what I was gonna
So
say.
the point I'm gonna start us off on is the quote "Free Palestine from Hamas" correct? So this sort of like I'm picking this one because it's kind of what we were talking about already.
Right.
So
Okay.
we'll start with that one. Let's try and stick specifically to this point, and we'll move to other ones later on. So
Okay.
who wants to start this one on?
I'll start it. I'll start it.
Go on.
Okay. So, if we leave the West Bank out of it and only discuss the Gaza Strip, um, Gaza is recognized internationally as basically a huge prison, right? Um,
Okay.
because restrictions on Palestinian movement and migration are imposed, right? So
Yeah.
technically, at least from that perspective, yes, the Palestinians do need to be freed in that area. If you're talking about broadly speaking, Palestine needs to be freed from Israeli control, I also somewhat agree.
Wait, so what do
Because
you think about Free Palestine from Hamas though?
I'll get onto that. I'll get into that.
Oh, okay, cool.
So freeing Israel owns the entire land, and when you have a nation that controls all the regions, has controls all the resources that come in, and also historically has had major conflict with the people that live there, that is just a recipe for disaster, right? Obviously, it is. Surely you got to recognize that, Ibrahim, right? There's going to be small issues that occur. There's going to be massive discrimination, right?
Of course, yeah. You gotta.
So that in that case, yeah, I do agree. The Palestinians do need to be. They need to have some sort of autonomous control over themselves. Whether that's Hamas, another question, bro. Okay, because Hamas wants to develop a theocracy, and I don't agree with theocracies in any way. Never work. Right? Look at Iran. Right? Not
Yeah.
working over there, bro. Women are burning their hijabs, and mullahs are getting attacked because they're not being represented properly and their economy is being destroyed because of these ancient archaic laws, right?
It's an
So I
Islam
don't.
thing.
Well, we can get into that later on, but yeah, so I do believe Palestine does need to be freed, at least in some capacity, from Israel. But whether Hamas should take over, no, no, no.
I just I just want to address one point.
Before we go on, that's
Okay.
what Sona said. That's basically my same view as well. Like
Okay.
I just want them. I forget Hamas because the thing is, once everything is so Hamas will go. That's my thing. This happened like Israel Palestine thing. They created it. Because they
Okay.
obviously wanted. Because they didn't finish. Because
Okay.
they wanted obviously they want freedom in it. So once all this shit are gone, Hamas be gone. Palestine will have their own government, whatever. Be recognized as actual state. You understand? That's my
No, but
that's the only.
I don't know where
no,
to start with this one,
no,
honestly. There's
Hamas,
two.
Hamas,
I need
no,
to
no,
address both
Solomon.
of you.
I just want to say Hamas won't let Israel exist though.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
It won't let Hamas, even if there is a two-state solution, Hamas won't go.
The
They
negotiation is unacceptable. It's in their charter.
Yeah, they're not acceptable. So Hamas or Israel, basically.
That's why Hamas has to go. So now,
So
regarding
yeah,
your point, regarding what you said about you were talking about how there's gonna be like oppression and things like that. I think you can't really talk about Israel alone in that because Palestine also oppresses Jews. Like there's 2.1 million Arabs in Israel. And there's an Arab judge called George Carra literally sentenced an Israel president to jail for rape allegations. So while it's not perfect, it's much better than what you get in Palestine. So you
Okay.
can't the way you worded that, I know what you're saying, but I feel like you worded it in a way that you're kind of pushing
It's
like
not.
a Palestine is a bit more moral sense,
No,
or
no,
like
no. I'm not. I don't.
they're oppressing sense.
I don't mean to. What I'm saying is, Israel as a state will necessarily be oppressive to a country that has been in conflict with for so many years. It's natural. It's what's gonna happen.
So would
Um,
Palestine,
but
really.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's a problem that's unique to Israel. That happens everywhere around the whole world. If you go to India, there's oppression of Muslims, bro. Okay.
Yeah, that's I think
If
it's a bit of a moot point, to be honest.
Well, but no, it's not. It's still a necessary moral argument. It's not a moot point. You should be
Because
talking
like
about what's right.
either way it's gonna happen, regardless of the end up like solution, regardless of what ends up happening. There's
No,
always
it
gonna
wouldn't.
be that sort of like
No,
rivalry.
no, I
Yeah.
wouldn't. Not if a two-state solution is met. If it's
And for
met,
that,
yeah. If it's for that, Hamas does need to go. Yeah, you're right.
Hamas has to go. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's what I'm trying to say. That was basically what I was trying to say.
Wait,
Okay, so
Like,
Solomon,
Solomon, do you think Israel should exist then?
of course, there's
So
Jews
then,
living there, bro. I'm
okay,
not
yeah,
trying to
but then,
say. Listen to it. I'm not trying to say get rid of them. I just
yeah,
want a
of course not.
two-state solution between
but
the
then
two
how?
sides.
Right. So, but Hamas will never go unless.
Yeah, how
Well,
can you have a two-state solution and Hamas?
Yeah, you
How can
can't.
you have both?
but the thing is, I know Hamas, they're funded by Iran anyway. They don't like Israel anyway. I know that for a
Yeah.
fact. It's like like the Hamas don't represent the Palestinian people, and obviously they don't.
They do. They do though.
They do. They
53%.
voted
No,
them
no,
in.
they
Yeah.
don't. No, sorry, my
They
cough.
were voted in. Solomon, remember what I
That
said.
was
We
that
grew
was
up in the
a long
West.
time ago.
They don't
Yeah,
have our belief system.
carry on. Sorry.
They don't think like we do. We grew
Uh,
up
No,
in the
well, I
West.
can't.
We have
I
Western
don't think,
values.
Ibrahim. I don't think you can say that for sure, 100%. But
Well, I mean 53%, like it's
I will
pretty.
say, Solomon, when you say that Hamas is not representative of Palestine, they did vote them in. So I think what you're more critical of, Solomon. Correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah,
but you're more critical of leadership of both countries.
yeah. That's basically
Yeah,
what it is, isn't it?
IDF you mentioned as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's basically what it is. It's just
okay.
The thing I'd say to that is, at least with the IDF you can negotiate. With Hamas you can't negotiate. You can't make a
Yeah.
two-state solution until you have two governments who are willing to negotiate for it. And for that to happen, you got to get rid of Hamas. There is no justifiable way that Hamas can stay.
All right, yeah. So
And
Solomon, do you think Hamas needs to go first then?
what do I say to this?
Because
I
do
can,
you get why? Like,
Because
because
no. I do understand because in the whole book you said that it said obviously they want to Israel kill Jews, whatnot. But then that's the same with the IDF though. If
I
IDF
think,
would
yeah,
then
whoa, let him
that
finish. Let him finish.
no, but that's the same with Israel then. If Hamas good, do you think Israel will stop bombing Gaza until they take off to they take over all the land? So you
if there's a
can't
That's
say
two-state solution,
no,
yeah,
but you can't say for sure though, can you?
that's
you
true.
can't say for sure
You
it won't
can't,
happen.
you can't say
No,
but one
he's right. He's right. He's right.
it's impossible. If one
Yeah,
goes, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to say that
he's right. He's
so
right. He's right. Ibrahim, you could. I can't. That was so intellectually poor, by the way, saying that you can't prove that it won't happen. That come
That's what
on.
I'm saying. You can't. He's basically saying, what's it called? He's basically going on theories, like what could happen.
No,
yeah,
So
but
no,
he made a claim that it won't lead to peace. How do you know?
because okay, so if we look at the view that Israel is an offensive power,
Mhm.
which is what a lot of Palestinians hold, then there is no trust, especially if let's say from the Palestinian perspective, this Israel power has been oppressing us for so long. Why should we trust that they will stop oppressing us once Hamas goes?
So what would you rather have? Would you rather
Well,
have the
do you get
current?
that though? Do you get that?
I get what you mean.
Do you get that
I know what
argument?
you mean about trust. I also think that Israel probably thinks the same way. Why should we trust these people? Like in the same sort of in like that sort of like tilted sense, like very
Exactly. Right.
extreme sense. Both
I th-
sides probably think that way.
right. So that's exactly what both have got their finger on the button and they don't trust the other one. to let
That's
go.
basically, yeah, that's basically what it is, isn't it? That's the whole.
Okay,
So would
so
you like? What would you rather have though? Like, would you rather have the current of today or the potential of a no Hamas potential
so
peace?
I think, broadly speaking, all humans should go extinct. But if we're talking about Israel Palestine, I think the only solution is okay. This is how I'd line it up. Tell me if you agree with me, yeah, Suleiman. I think this is a good idea as well.
Yeah,
I think you
yeah,
agree. So basically, I think we need a third country to oversee it.
100%.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
right?
common argument. Yeah,
All right. So can't be America, can't be the UK, because we both know that they hold interest in Israel as a nation, right?
yeah,
Uh, America has funded Israel billions and billions, man. And it's just
yeah.
like, obviously there's some, so there's got to be maybe Switzerland, you know?
I would
Switzerland
say a
is a,
collection of countries would be better.
no, collection of League of Nations got us into this mess, isn't it? So I
Nah,
think
but
it should be a completely neutral party like Switzerland. Um,
with some like
Switzerland,
Arab nations as well, maybe though.
no, what I'm saying is Switzerland needs to come in and they need okay, so in order for Israel to exist, Hamas needs to go first, yeah? Do we agree?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Hamas needs to go because if Hamas doesn't go, then
Yeah, but
Israel
no, wait,
Israel will
no,
always be bombed.
no, but how can you stop Hamas? Like, if you kill, let's say, 500 people, they will still keep growing. Like, you
Yeah.
can't stop.
Yeah. So
That's
that's what
what I'm
I'm saying.
saying.
That's so basically what we need is a formal agreement by Palestine to dismantle Hamas and
Yeah.
then Switzerland as a nation to back Palestine if Israel tries to continue doing activities like that. Right?
Yeah,
But
that's a
is
good point.
Palestine and Israel going to listen to Switzerland? Is that really
No,
going to happen?
no, because no, I'm just proposing a country, maybe any neutral party that comes in and says, "All right, so we're going to dismantle Hamas. Hamas is gone, but now Israel can't make any moves. And if Israel does make moves, then we're going to heavily sanction them." Right?
I feel like there's always going to be that, oh, what if they were paid off by a side or something? Like, I feel
That's
like
the
there's always
problem.
going to be that idea of
That's the
corruption in
problem.
there.
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's why it's such a hard problem. But I think that's the best solution so
I
far.
don't know,
That's
maybe a group of countries with a representative on each side,
Yeah,
it's
that's
still
might
possible
be.
corruption, but it might
Mm.
be a bit less corrupted,
Because
potentially.
there's no way that Palestine will have their own government. They're not that big enough, like to
No,
have
they
their
can have a
own.
government.
Yeah, but
Hamas is
obviously,
their government right now.
yeah, but when we talk about Israel, is obviously Israel is more bigger. But
yeah,
yeah,
it is
Yeah.
bigger. It is big. All
so
right,
it's
I think we can tick off a few from here.
right.
So I think we'll just quickly go through because we've discussed this. But do you condemn Hamas? Sona, what's your answer to this? From the discussion we've
Yeah,
just had.
yeah, it's a terrorist group in it. Yeah.
All right, I do as well. Suleiman?
yeah. I only do it if you condemn the IDF as well. That's that's
Yeah,
that's it. That's
yeah.
that's just what it is, isn't it?
That's
Okay,
fair.
so
That's fair.
that's perfect because we can get to the next point, which is what should Israel do? So
Okay. Okay.
my just to refresh you both, my argument was, well, they can't sit there and do nothing. They can't get a ceasefire because Hamas will just continue rebuilding. Obviously, we're not talking about two-state now because this is the current situation, right? We're talking about what Israel
Right.
can do now. So, putting
Okay.
aside any potential humanitarian, because that's just obvious, right? We know they shouldn't be breaking Geneva Conventions and whatnot. Aside from that, because we can agree on that, what do you think Israel should do? Or the IDF, I should
That's
say.
the problem though. You see how you kind of glossed over the fact that they're doing incredibly illegal activities.
Well, we
Do you
can't
see that?
debate that because we agree.
Exactly, but that's the thing though. I want to spend a bit more time talking about how Israel does illegal things and no one bats an eye,
Okay, well, I
right?
can mention one thing.
Because Suleiman said it earlier. Suleiman wanted to talk about the hypocrisy. Yeah, there absolutely is a hypocrisy, but it's hypocrisy on both sides, right? Just like
Yeah.
you said, Ibrahim, there's hypocrisy. Hypocrisy from the Muslim community, right?
Mm.
Because whenever it's another Muslim Arab country oppressing other Arabs, it's okay with the Muslims, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, you're right about how Saudi Arabia killed so many Yemens. Where were all the arguments saying, Yemen, Yemen flag, free Yemen, all that?
Free
The
Yemen, yeah.
Muslims, most Muslims are okay with that. What do you think about that, Solomon? Do you think that's wrong? Right?
Of course that is. Yeah. Of course it
Yeah,
is.
But do you see why it's a little bit hypocritical of
yeah, I understand, but
There's
Right.
like
also
now,
like
but now, like I know you're talking about like Muslims in Palestine, but like not quite a lot of them are not even Muslim though. Like there's
Yeah,
quite a lot of people that are actually Christian, whatever religion, bro. Like they
yeah.
say what Palestine doing is wrong, so what Israel doing is wrong. So I think now,
that
before
doesn't
it was
necessarily mean
no,
much.
no, no, no. Listen, can I finish, please? Before
Sorry.
interrupt. All right, sorry, I'm being abrupt, but like I need to
No,
finish
no,
this.
no, no, no.
Yeah?
I like this emotion.
So, so yeah. So like before, like it was a religious thing. I understand. Yeah, I know it was. But now, what's happened now recently? It's more than a religious. It's a human thing. Morals.
It's still religious though.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. I
It's
know,
still
but
religious.
now,
Imagine
no,
being
but
an
listen, no,
Orthodox
no, no,
Jew.
no, no, no. But now in all religion between Muslim, Jews, yeah. And it is, yeah, my bad. Getting confused there. Oh,
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Imagine being
Take your time.
imagine being an
getting
Orthodox Jew
confusing.
with your
Yeah,
black hat and your little
I know,
twirls and
I know,
walking
I know,
around East London.
I
You're
know,
gonna
I know,
get ended,
You're
bro.
getting shut
I
down,
know,
bro.
I
It's
know, I
awful.
know, I know,
So
I know.
that's
But the thing is,
unacceptable.
I've actually spoken to some Jews that are Orthodox, and they think what they're doing is wrong, Palestine,
Yeah.
Israel.
Yeah, you're
So,
right. You're right.
so it's like it's like anywhere. Like you have Islam, Christianity, you have that small minority. You want to kill Jews or
Mm,
Muslims. It's
mm.
just the way it is, isn't it? But this is the way it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't wanna get into this too much because we said we
Yeah,
wouldn't talk about religion anymore.
yeah.
But you even if a small minority of people, and I'll say this again, Western people think this way, in Islam itself, it's very heavily against Judaism. Like one of the signs of the Day of Judgment is that the Muslims are going to fight the Jews, kill the Jews. That is a very common thing. In fact, it's mentioned in Hamas as well. Like these are essential parts of Islam. So I think it is very much religious, and you can't say otherwise. Even if the Western part of Islam, which most Western Muslims are very peaceful. I say most, a lot of them aren't. But because they've been raised with Western ideologies, and a lot of them aren't even aware of Islam's certain claims. But Islam itself is very against Judaism, and we're talking about the East here. That's a very prominent belief, so it's very religious. I have to just clarify that. Regarding, you guys want to talk
Okay.
about the actual bombings and stuff then?
What? So what
So I
now?
wanted
What's
to,
happening
yeah,
now?
I guess that was the point we were going to go to. I want to quickly quote Article 19 of the Geneva Convention real quick. The protection to which civilian hospitals are entitled shall not cease unless they are used to commit outside their humanitarian duties acts harmful to the enemy. So what
Okay.
that means is if the hospital is being used as a military base, it is not against the Geneva Convention to bomb it. And we
All right.
know that is the case with Al Shifa Hospital.
All
We
right.
do know that's the case.
Solomon, you want to say something about the hospital thing?
Yeah.
Go on.
So like, where's the evidence? There was that tunnel, a base underneath. There's no
Oh, it
evidence,
has
bro.
been.
No, listen to me. It all got is the word redacted? I can't. Is that the word? It got redacted. The evidence.
What?
Anyways, the evidence said I saw a video. Israel. They're saying they found a gun and everything, and then there was it one of the.
Was that wasn't that a
I
different
saw a
hospital?
video. No, that was the Al Shifa one. That's how they backed it. That's why they said that they bombed it because of that.
Okay,
That's
sorry,
that's I
Suleiman,
can't
this
remember.
is a lot of these where's the evidence can be very hypocritical. Like there was a hospital, I'm pretty sure it was Al Shifa that was bombed, and it was by Hamas themselves. This was confirmed by the Israeli and American intelligence. And even if you don't believe that, it was also geo-tracked.
Israeli,
I said
yeah.
even if you don't believe that, even
American,
if you
of
don't believe
course,
that,
bro.
even if you don't believe that, it was also geo-tracked and it was made like clear that it was a bomb from Hamas. That it was very common, by the way, bombs
Who
that
who
fly up and
who
land back down in Gaza.
who
And we
geo-tracked
know
it?
they had those bombs.
Who
Sorry,
geo-tracked it? Who geo-tracked it?
I forget exactly, but it was checked. It was properly checked. I don't have the source on me right now.
By who
But
though?
it's
Innit?
very hard
Like,
to get sources that are because like I can bring you any source and you'll be like, nope, that's not correct. And then you'll bring me a source and I'll be like, nope, that's not correct.
yeah,
Like
that's
it's
the
very
problem.
difficult to it's very difficult. And but the thing is we know that they have missiles capable of the damage because they're funded by Iran. So we know that they're capable of that. But the moment that these things were shown, it was just crickets by the pro-Palestinian support. There was nothing there for like, oh, well, we're not gonna defend. It was just okay. Now that we know it wasn't Israel, we're not gonna talk about Hamas anymore. We're just gonna stay silent. So it's very hypocritical to say where's the evidence when it's a Israel thing, but when it's not, like when it's a Hamas thing, there's no evidence required. I don't like that.
Okay, Solomon.
I'm gonna get some water, yeah? So now you can carry on. We're back
Okay,
in.
Do you
cool.
wanna? It's I don't know how to proceed with that, sort of. What do you think? Like, do you think we should continue with this idea of evidence, or do you think we should move on? Because we can go either way, really.
No, I think we both accept that evidence. It's too much disinformation to fully rely on evidence, so we sort of
Yeah, there's
basically
a
need
lot
to
of propaganda, a lot of
form our
evidence is bad.
own. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, do you agree, Ibrahim, that Israel has done illegal things, right?
it's hard to say because there's certain things like white phosphorus which were disproven.
Was
Again,
it?
if I give you a source, yeah, it was a smoke bomb actually. I can give you a source, but again, like I instead of the source, I can give you a literal actual video
No,
of the
no, no,
bomb
no,
itself.
no, not the smoke bomb. I mean, in the sky, it was coming from the sky.
I
You
don't
didn't see
remember
that?
exactly. No, I did
Yeah.
see a white phosphorus bomb, but I'm pretty sure that was the one debunked.
Well,
But it's hard to say again.
how can it
It's
be a
really hard to
smoke
say.
bomb if it's in the sky? It's
Well, no, no, no.
exploding.
The
It's
smoke
exploding
went up
in the sky.
into the sky.
No, it wasn't though. That wasn't the video I saw, man.
I guess we're seeing different videos as well then.
Because I'm almost certain they were using white phosphorus.
Well,
Because
okay,
it
we'll just, well, what can we even do with that? Like,
also, um, Israeli settlers moving into Gaza and the West Bank. Remember, they were internationally recognized as illegal moves.
yeah. Is that a move by the IDF though, or is that a thing?
No, they were
Like
just
a,
Jewish settlers. They were just
yeah.
Jewish
So can we
settlers.
really hold Israel accountable for that?
No, because they were campaigns. They were advertising campaigns supporting moving, right? So it wasn't technically an overt political move, but it was a social. They were socially suggesting it, right?
Okay, well, if that's the case, I don't know too much. If that's the case, then yeah, you can't exactly justify things like that, can you?
Yeah. So that's the problem, isn't it? So
Hamas has
many.
committed war crimes. IDF has committed war crimes. What can you do?
Yeah, that's it exactly. So that's why Suleiman says, if you're gonna say Hamas is a terrorist group, you also have to admit that the IDF is a terrorist group too.
I don't know if I can really put them on the same level as Hamas, though. Like, even if they've done things, like I said, there's no good side in a war. Even if they've done things that I can't condone, I can't compare them to Hamas exactly. Because
Because
remember, like Hamas is literally taking things away from its people as well. Like, I guess actually, wait, I'll wait for Silman to get back before I make this point because
right,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted to.
I'm back. I'm
Oh,
back.
you're here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I can't compare Hamas and IDF because Hamas is literally taking things away from their people. They take aid that they receive and they build bombs with it. They've literally taken out water pipes to build bombs with it. Like you can't put them in the same category. Like I know they're poorer, but it's very different. I can't put them together,
uh,
especially with their charter as well. Like
yeah, yeah,
you can
yeah, of course.
you can say
But
that I'll say that they're both bad, but I'd say that Hamas is significantly worse.
okay, so I don't agree with the word terrorist, right?
Really?
Yeah, because terrorist is just such a one-sided word. One person's terrorist, another person's revolutionary.
What would you call them then?
Do you get it? So like if you go so here in America in the UK, if we talk about have you heard of um you heard of what's his name? Bhagat Singh? Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so
No.
Bhagat Singh was a guy from India who basically attacked British basically British officers and was heavily invested in getting Britain out of India, right?
Yeah.
Heavily invested in it. He was eventually hanged for his actions. Keep in mind he didn't kill anyone, by the way. Like so, but he was like known for attacking, and releasing smoke bombs, not actual bombs, but smoke bombs to cause commotions and stuff like that. And if you talk
Okay.
about him in a UK context, he's considered a terrorist, right? Right?
Yeah.
But if you go to India, there'll be portraits of Bhagat Singh, calling him a revolutionary, a hero. If you ever call Bhagat Singh a terrorist in India, you'll probably get jumped, right?
Crazy.
You'll actually get jumped as being like, how dare you call a hero a terrorist? He fought for India, for India to be free. That's what I'm saying. The word terrorist inherently flawed, right? Because
Yeah,
it
but
will
I mean,
always change.
in this context, can you really say it's flawed?
Yeah, I can.
I'm
Because
sure the Palestinians don't consider Hamas terrorists, but they're still terrorists. Doesn't
exactly.
change the fact of it.
No, but what is the fact of a terrorist?
A terrorist is a person who uses unlawful violence against civilians, right?
So
Simple
the
as
So
I
that.
the
so the so
idea,
the IDF
IDF
then
is wrong,
too.
mate.
The
Yeah,
IDF
I didn't
too.
say that I didn't say that
No,
the illegal things they did weren't unlawful and
No,
therefore
bro.
not terrorist
You
actions.
just gave us a definition of a terrorist. So now you got and the IDF has done illegal things. You admitted that, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I'll explain this more. But first, let's talk about Hamas, and then we'll go to IDF. So Hamas, we can agree is terrorist by this definition, yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Suleiman,
Suleiman,
you
do you
fine with
agree?
that?
Yeah, wrong.
Okay, what the IDF has done in defense of its civilians is not a terrorist act. What they have done unlawfully, I would consider a terrorist act.
So they are terrorists.
Yes, but
There
not as
you
bad as
go,
Hamas.
Suleiman. Virtual high five.
Yeah,
Virtual
You
high
guys
five.
have
go
not won
on.
this one. Look, again, I keep saying this. I sound like a broken record. There is no good side in a conflict like this. There is never a good
Okay,
side.
but they're both
But
terrorists and they're both heroes to their people. That's why the word terrorist is flawed.
yeah. But you gotta. That's why you gotta take in how much, like how moral they are versus unmoral. Like Hamas, there's no moral justification for them whatsoever. With the
Yeah,
IDF,
but
you can
so is
make those
IDF.
ideas.
No, you can't.
No, yeah, you
No,
can.
that no, bro.
Look.
No, you can't
Hamas.
say
We just
no.
spent the last hour
Wait, wait.
No,
discussing why Hamas
Let's
is not moral.
bro, you can't. Okay, sorry. Carry on,
You
Ibn.
yourself
go on,
condemned
Suleiman.
Hamas.
Go
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
Suleiman. Yes.
No. Sorry, Ibn. Carry on. Sorry. I don't know what else you want to say. I
I said
just
you
said.
yourself condemned Hamas in this last hour.
Yeah.
We
So
literally
yeah, but
just
so is
discussed
that.
every
Yeah,
issue they
yeah, I
have.
know. Yeah, I know. But then you can't say Hamas is not. Sorry, the IDF is not as bad as Hamas, bro. They're both the same. They're
No,
fine
they're
for the
not. What do
cause.
you mean?
No,
Hamas
they're fine
IDF
for
is
the
bad,
cause.
but not
They're
that
fine
bad
for the
compared to
cause.
Hamas.
They're fine for the cause. You can't say that one person is
Okay,
more thing. No, yeah, sorry. I get
again,
too
I'll bring
excited.
up what I
I
said
get
before. Again,
too
I'll bring up
excited.
what I said before. I said in World War II there were 1 million Brits killed, but Germans 4 million. What's more evil to you? A group killing civilians in an
Yeah.
attempt to kill terrorists, or a group just targeting civilians?
I say that's
What
a
is more
flawed
evil to you?
statement. That's a flawed statement, Ibrahim. It's a flawed
Why do you think
statement. I'll
so?
tell you why. Because you're assuming that they're killing civilians just to get to Hamas.
I mean, what else can you assume, really?
But that's the
Oh,
problem.
they're not killing
That's the problem.
civilians to get to
That's you're
Hamas.
basically
They're
saying
not killing civilians to get to Hamas. They're
right.
killing Hamas and
Solomon,
hitting civilians.
the way Solomon thinks and the way a lot of people think that support Palestine right now is that Israel is not just trying to get to Hamas. They're trying to get to their very core nation of a
Bro,
Palestine
yeah.
nation.
Bro,
And
they're trying to
so
eradicate all.
they'll say Palestinian civilians are casualties, but how do we know they're not just killing people just for the fun of it? How do we know that? We
No,
don't,
but you can't
because
say that. You can't say that
we
you
don't,
don't. That's the thing.
we don't get advertising campaigns from Palestine. We don't get that. The only piece of media we get is from what the official military of Israel tell us.
I mean, this is just pure like
It's
ideas. Like
conjecture.
it's not.
It's
It's
conjecture.
conjecture.
It's conjecture.
I
You're
don't. I
right.
don't think it
You're
stands on
right.
anything.
But you're basing your views on what the IDF have told us.
I'm basing it off of their actions.
No.
When you
They
see
you don't know
Hamas
their
targeting
actions. You don't know their
civilians in
actions.
a,
You don't
Bro,
know their actions. You're basing it off what they've
how can
said
you
their
not?
actions are. You're basing it off
We
what they've
do know
said.
their we
No,
don't
we
know the
don't.
intention exact behind their actions, but we do know
Bro,
their
we
actions.
don't. We don't. We only know what Israel tell us and what America back, because America
Okay,
will
what
always
about
back
the
Israel.
independent journalism? Obviously, we can't.
There
You can't
barely
trust the media exactly, but
There's
there is
barely
stuff.
any independent. There's
Okay,
barely any
so
independent
what can you
journalism.
in your idea? What can you trust? What
and
do you take the information from?
and let me say this one more thing. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just pointing it out there. The Times recently said that Israel knew Hamas were going to attack, but they didn't do anything a year before.
Where's
Yeah,
that
that's a
So
from?
conspiracy as well.
from the no, it's from the Times. I don't know how true it is. I'm just pointing out there that they knew that Hamas was going to attack. They also didn't know when,
Who's the
but
author? Who's the author of the
Uh,
article?
the Times, innit? I don't know. I
Who's
don't
the? Oh,
know.
yeah,
I
but it
just got.
says
I
articles
don't.
by.
Let me check. I don't know.
He
Let
probably
me
doesn't
check.
have the article on him right
Because
now.
No,
if it's someone like Muhammad
no,
Allah, and it's
no,
like,
no, no,
bro.
no, no, no. But no, but the Times you have to pay for, innit? So I
Oh
can't
right,
really
okay.
access it.
Oh,
So,
Fair.
but
Okay,
so
Sona, what can you trust then? You're saying, okay, we don't know
that's
what
the
they're doing. We
problem.
don't know.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're coming from a perspective of what many consider the oppress. You got to remember that Israel is way more well funded, way more well connected than Palestine, right?
Yes, obviously.
They've got the ball in their court for everything, bro.
of course,
Everything,
bro. Every country sucking there.
everything.
But don't you think that if they wanted Gaza like completely destroyed, they would have done it by now? Don't you think like
No,
Bro, they're
no, they
doing it
can't do that.
slowly.
They can't do it. Do it slowly, systematically, and make sure there's no bad press, so they don't get surrounded by the hate. Do you
what
get
do you
it?
mean no bad? There's plenty of bad press
Of course,
already.
there's bad press, but what I'm saying is you can't deny that you didn't drop a nuke. You can't deny that, and no
The
one's gonna
Hamas can't
back that.
deny that either,
So
to
you
be
got to
fair.
do it. You got to do it systematically, slowly, and make sure you make it seem like this was the only solution. It's like, okay, do you know why America backs Israel so much? Do you know why?
Why?
Because
Because they hate Iran and that, obviously. That's
not
why,
just
bro.
that, not just that, Israel is America's back door into the Middle East.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah, these are just like, come on.
No, it's
Where did you
true.
get that from?
No, okay. Anytime America wants to exert some level of control, it's happened historically. Whenever they want to exert some level of control over the Middle East, they will consult Israel for it, because Israel would. They're both buddies. They're both in cahoots. Both support each other. Is America's given billions and billions in aid to Israel, right?
Yeah.
But as the reason why, if America want to do something, they can't just go over there and do it, right? Is because that would be called Western imperialism, and in this day of journalism, everyone would see it and basically call out America for it, and America can't handle that, right? They like being the heroes always, right?
Mm.
Same reason why Israel can't just come out with it and completely flatten Gaza in 1 second, because they know no one can back that. There is no reason to back it. So when you say, why doesn't Israel, if Israel wants to destroy all of Palestine, why not just do it in a second? Because they can. They can't because of the politics of the situation.
I don't know, man. If they're being backed by America, and if it is the way you say it is, I don't think that would. I don't know. I mean, what you're doing is you're doing the exact same thing I was doing. You're taking the actions of Israel and you're using it to design what you think is going on. And I was doing the same thing. You're
No,
saying, oh, they're systematically going in and they're trying to get to the core. And I was saying, well, they're
no,
just
what I'm
defending
saying,
the right to live.
no, I never
We
said this
both we
systematically
both
going
don't
in.
know.
No, I never said
That's
this
what you said.
systematically going. No, listen. I never said they were. You said, why wouldn't they flatten it? And I gave you a reason for why they wouldn't flatten it. There'd be a
Okay, but
reason why they wouldn't.
before that, you were
You
saying that
made it
okay, we
seem
don't
like
know though.
exactly, we don't, because the evidence that always comes out is always tainted. But we got to remember that Israel is much more well connected, much more well funded. It's an official military. Everything that happens will more than likely go through them. Yes or no?
I don't I don't understand what your point is with this. Like, okay, so you're basically saying this idea of okay, America's backdoor is Israel into the East, Middle East, right? That's where you're at with this. Because like
Yeah, but
I don't see where you're going with this. I feel like you've like gone into a tangent that's completely separate to everything that we were talking about.
no. When you say that when you said earlier that P- Israel's only aim is to destroy Hamas, I questioned that. I questioned it.
So you're
And then you said, if they want to destroy all of Palestine, why wouldn't they flatten it? And I gave you a reason for why they wouldn't flatten it in one go.
okay,
That's where we are. That's where we are.
so you think oh my days. This is going such a tangent.
No, it
So
hasn't.
okay.
I
Yeah.
because you were trying to bait
No, as in
we
because
were
we were
giving a
talking
reason.
about
I'll tell you why. You said we were talking about why you said that the IDF is not the same as Hamas. Me and Suleiman
yeah.
disagreed. Me and Suleiman disagreed, right?
Okay.
Then you said, no, they can't be, and I'll tell you why they're not. Because when Israel defend themselves and they're only trying to target Hamas, and that's when I said I disagree. You can't say that they're only trying to target Hamas.
Okay, so let's go
Because
from there. Let's go from there.
right.
You're saying that that I'm wrong about that. They don't only want to target Hamas, right?
I'm not
Of
saying you
course,
want.
bro. Of course.
Oh, there's
Okay,
Suleiman.
obviously,
Of course,
Suleiman, yes. Obviously,
of
Suleiman
Okay.
course, bro.
100% thinks that. What I'm saying is, there's no reason for them to only target Hamas. It'd
Yeah,
be
So the
in
way
every. It'd be in
your statement
every
doesn't hold.
incentive. It'd be in every incentive to try and eradicate Palestine as a nation.
Your
so
statement has as much water as mine does, though,
Exactly.
based on the actions we've
So
seen. So it feels like it's just nothing
exactly.
at the end.
So both have done illegal things. We agree, yes or no?
yeah, of course, bro. Just kill
Potentially, yes, if
people.
the media is
Yeah.
correct. But we don't know clearly. That's what you said.
So then they're
All the
both
media is tainted.
terrorists. There you go.
Potentially. Hamas is a terrorist, yes, potentially, because
Why?
they've said so.
Why?
Wait,
Huh?
Because
so
they've
idea
literally
was
said so.
wait.
Because
So
they've
okay,
said, yeah, because they've said so. And
so
who would
so
you rather
idea.
believe? Who would you rather believe? The people claiming that Hamas isn't terrorists, or Hamas themselves who say our goal is to kill all the Jews? Who would you rather believe?
Okay.
You can't. It's unquestionable that Hamas is a terrorist group. That's unquestionable.
Yeah, but
The
then
Yeah.
so is the
debate
IDF,
is on
bro.
if IDF is a terrorist group or not.
And it is. It
That's where the
is.
debate
It
lies.
is,
It
bro. It
If
is.
is.
It
if
is.
It
It
Hamas,
is.
if
is.
IDF have done the illegal things that they've said they've done, which again, media is very misleading. There's a lot of like bias towards it, so we don't know exactly. But if they have, then yes, they have done terrorist actions. However, it does not equal what Hamas has done, not in the slightest.
You know
Why?
what? You know what? I actually want to get away from this because we're just gonna run everyone in circles. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I think we are running in circles.
Fine.
because
I
Fine.
like
mean,
Fine.
we made our
I
points pretty clear here. I think.
yeah,
Fine.
yeah.
I think at the end of the
Basically,
day, just to
basically,
summarize, we don't know.
Ibrahim's
Basically,
saying it's not terrorism when it comes from an official government. Then it's not
no,
terrorism.
that's not what I said. What the hell?
Then it's not
Ah,
terrorism.
I'm just saying we got to believe Hamas and what they say, which is that they want to kill. Okay, this is a question I asked Suleiman,
Oh yeah, the
and
favorite.
it's about
Yeah.
from the river to the sea. So, Suleiman, I just want to hear what you think, what it means, and would
Right.
you agree
So
with it or not?
yeah, right. So I done some research into it, thinking also what Swana said at the beginning. The was it river? Was it
Yeah,
Mediterranean
From the river to
Jordan?
the sea,
Yeah. The
from the river Jordan to the sea. Yeah.
yeah. The
Mediterranean
basically
Sea.
it can imply it kind of get rid of the Jews, but no, I don't think it's not. It just means that they have the same rights as the people that live in Israel, innit? That's 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 the thing. I know loads of people because you can interpret it as like into anything you want to believe. You understand? There's so many
Okay.
ways you can interpret
No, I
the,
don't think so.
No, I mean, from the river to the sea, it's pretty clear, cut and dry
Yeah,
that
it's pretty clear that they just
Palestine,
want
from the
Palestine.
river to the sea.
Yeah.
And what
no,
happens to the
no,
Jews
but
if that
no,
happens?
no, but
Genocide.
that's what no, but that's what I think.
But
That's not.
how can you
See,
possibly think anything other than what we're thinking, Solomon?
Suleiman, that's what I'm saying. People call for genocide knowingly and unknowingly with this statement. They
Yeah.
don't realize that. So
No,
your intentions are pure, but the quote is wrong.
I'm not sure if it means genocide, but you're right in that it says when you're saying from the river to the sea, you're obviously talking about the whole land, right? Solomon,
That's the
yes or no?
natural consequence of that
Solomon,
of
yes
this
or
situation.
Yeah, yeah,
when you say river to the sea, you're talking about the whole land.
yeah, yeah.
And obviously when people say that and they put a Palestinian flag next to it, a Palestinian flag emoji, what they're basically saying is they want the whole area to be Palestinian.
Okay. But
Isn't
I
If
that
that
think,
happens, what
but
happens
but
to the
what
Jews?
but what I think, what I imply it as, people. I know it actually means to give it the Jews, but I don't think that's the case. But obviously, you two have different views. But that's where I like see it. I don't see it as an eradication of Jews. You understand? I know you just
You
do
can
the
think of
point.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you can think of it as a bad thing, as a good thing. People have their own,
I
views.
mean, it's like me saying, "Oh, all Jews should be killed." Oh no, no, I don't mean that all Jews should be killed. Like the statement is pretty cut and dry in itself, even if you
no,
interpret it differently.
it doesn't mean Jews should be killed. It doesn't mean that.
That's the consequence of it, though. And
No,
everyone
no, it's
knows that.
not. No, it's
Yeah, it
not.
is.
No, it's not. It's not.
How
It's
many
not.
how many Jews? What happens to Jews in
The
Palestine? What happens to them?
the Egyptian, you know the Egyptian comedian, I've forgotten his name.
Oh, that
Uh,
bus, that guy, yeah.
Yeah, Bassem
yeah, he
Youssef. Yeah,
said
yeah, yeah.
he's the one who said, okay, why don't we just give Florida to the Jews? Huh? Why not
What
make
happens
that
to the
Israel?
people who live there? What happens to the people who live there?
Oh, they have loads of room. The people from Florida can move up in anywhere in America. America's such a huge space. There won't be mass huge migration places. There won't be it'd just be a mass relocation to more land in America, which there is loads of anyway.
I see.
right?
Yeah, if we give Florida to Jews, that would solve the issue, I'd say.
Uh,
But is that going to
so
happen?
so from land to sea doesn't necessitate the genocide of the Jews. Would you agree?
So you want? I feel like the quote should be from the river to the sea, move the Jews to Florida, and give
What?
Pal.
No, what I'm saying is, when you say from the river to the sea means genocide of Jews, it doesn't mean that.
No,
It
no, I
just
didn't say it
means
means it. I said it's a consequence of the state. If you want from the river to the sea Palestine, that would lead to the genocide of Jews,
it doesn't
and
though. 'Cause
that's why it's a call for it.
I just gave you a different answer. You gave
Yeah, but
what happened
you
instead.
said is that ever gonna happen? Like, be real with me. Is that ever gonna happen?
No, it's not. It's not ever going to happen. But what I'm telling you
If
is that statement is separate from the consequence
if
that you're
they got what
implying.
they want, if Palestine from the river to the sea it became Palestine today, what would happen to the Jews?
There'd have to probably be some sort of intervention from an international country.
Yeah,
Because
why?
yeah,
Because they would
the
be
Jews would
killed.
absolutely get attacked. Yeah, you're right. You're
They
right.
would be
They would.
they would be genocided again. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
exactly when when you stand in a protest. This is what they want. They want from the river to the sea. This is like their ideal goal, right? So if that happens, that is the end result. That is
This is
obviously if another planet comes from like if we find and populate Mars, we can give the whole planet of Mars to the Jews. But in the real life situation, that's just how it is.
this is why I don't back
They're gonna
religion,
die.
man. The religions are so
Yeah, me too.
religions are so messed up, bro. Like seriously, it just messes
It's
up things.
it's a
Anyway,
problem because like you can't modernize them. If you could, it would be way better, but you can't.
no, you can. Christianity's done it.
Yeah, you can't do it with Islam, can you?
No.
But think in Palestine, it's quite a lot of Christians that live there as well.
Yeah,
So you
he's
can't,
right.
Yeah, I mean, groups
so you
everywhere live there,
can't,
yeah.
so you can't say it's just a Muslim thing. You know, it's a,
It's
you know what
not.
I'm trying to say.
The main
No, but
groups
no,
are
no, no,
Islam and Jews, right?
but it's like, oh, also in Gaza, there's different religions live there. The three, Jews but like, it's like you can't just say
Yeah,
it's just a Muslim thing, because
yeah, but
it's
Solon, it's a
Christians as well.
Muslim country versus a Jewish
No, but
country. That's the.
It's Christians as well, though. You
It's
Yeah.
can't,
not a
What?
Christian country.
Okay.
you can't
Okay.
just say
So
it's.
what? So yeah, that's fair.
So,
What
so,
Solomon's saying? What Solomon's saying? It's not just Muslims that hate on Jews. It's Christians too.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
of course.
so what he's saying is it's not a unique problem, religious problem to Muslims. What I would say is that right, Solomon?
yeah, that's basically
Uh,
what I'm trying to say.
what I would say to that is, first of all, the Christians and the Muslims need to recognize that their religions wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Judaism.
Yeah, that's true. It
True.
wouldn't. Yeah, that's so
Second,
true. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with
second of all, the Christians are clapped, right? Because their Messiah on earth was Jewish, bro.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
So
Exactly. It's very true.
firm it,
I know.
it, brother, firm
No,
it.
bro.
Like seriously.
Yeah, I know.
So, and the Jews, we can't lie it. The Jews have been violated throughout history. They
Of
keep
course they
getting
have, bro.
violated.
They always get
Oh,
violated, yeah.
so do you guys think that Jewish people need a homeland then?
Yeah, I mean, the Muslims have so many. The Jews should have one, but the problem is, how do they get one, right?
Solomon, do you think so?
But yeah, but
So you're Zionists then? You're Zionists.
what?
You're Zionists.
No, wait, what? What was the question?
I didn't deny that.
Do you think Jewish people need a homeland?
It's like Muslims. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very very good question.
You think they do, innit? You think they do, don't lie.
If
I
They
think
do.
Solomon thinks that they do need a homeland, but it shouldn't be over there. Like, it shouldn't
No,
step
no,
over
no.
Palestinian toes, right?
What I'm trying to say is that I don't know. That's a good question though. I'll give you that. I have to give you credit in it. I'm not gonna lie and say it's good question. Good question,
Okay, because
bro.
if you do, then you support
Yeah.
Zionism. You support Zionism then. Do you know what I mean?
For the F, yeah, I know you want the.
I don't think
So-
it's. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't
it's
think it's
like-
inherently wrong to be a Zionist. To be fair, that's
Well-
not an evil take to have.
Well, a lot
Obviously,
of
there's extremism in it, but
a lot of
just the idea
Orthodox-
itself.
a lot of Orthodox Jews say that Zionism is inherently un-Jewish
Yeah, they do.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, obviously. There's
Because-
gonna be a difference in opinion.
because the land must be gifted by God. It can't be given by another nation. It is a land that is gifted by God, and saying that we deserve it and it's given to us by another country is not Jewish. That's what a lot of Jews argue.
I'd say. Yeah,
Anyway,
I think
let's move on to the
it's,
next prompt.
I think that's tradition versus modern, right?
Yeah. Let's move on to the
'Cause
next.
you're not gonna get land
prompt.
given to you today, are you?
Let's
Okay.
move on to the next
So let me just quickly go through So we can tick off what should Israel do. We talked about this.
Yeah.
We talked about is Israel
Israel
or
should leave.
Palestine right currently? We talked about that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Is
not.
the quote "Free Palestine" from Hamas correct? We talked about this.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Why this problem was... So did we talk about selective outrage? We already did, right? We talked about that.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, a little
but
bit.
I
Yeah.
think a little bit.
Do
But
you want to keep?
what?
You want to go back on that?
But you know what? Let me know what Ibrahim was talking about. The thing is, with this selective outrage, you only focus on one thing as bad, because so many things happen all around the world. Is it in Congo as well right now? Congo?
Congo massacre, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like no one talks about that. Like it's just Palestine. This is because Israel, Muslims, whatever. But like there should be outrage for all of these, right? All of these
Yeah.
problems that happen.
Yeah. The question
No,
is, why is it the one time it's not a Muslim on Muslim that it's outrage?
Because
I
it's
don't know.
hypocrisy.
I
It's
can't.
hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Is. We can admit that.
Yeah, I believe.
We can
Yeah, I
admit that.
believe that. Yeah, 100%, I
Which
believe
is
that.
why
Yeah.
I say religious conflict,
Yeah,
especially.
yeah. 100%. Yeah, yeah. It is. It comes. That's what I'm saying. There's two conflicts. There's a religious conflict that's happened for thousands of years, and there's a
Yeah,
political conflict. The Jews, Christians, and the Muslims don't get along. They
yeah,
don't. Despite all being sister
Yeah.
religions, they don't get along, right? So that's just always happened. Can't get past that.
That's just the problem with the religions themselves rather than the,
Yeah,
ideas of the
100%.
governments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I just want to get through all of these, then we'll talk about the movement and Ukraine. But first, I just want to get through all of this. Did we talk about who deserves the land historically?
No,
I
we
talked about
didn't.
this.
But I talked
So
about
I
the history
mentioned
of it.
we talked about
yeah.
the history. I talked about how the conqueror should have the land. And Sona, what was your response to that? It was a negative precedent, right?
It sets a negative precedent for moral,
Yeah,
humanitarian
so
issues.
we did talk about this. Solomon,
No,
did you
but
have
I
anything
don't.
else to add?
Yeah, what does Solomon
No,
think?
to be honest, if you want me to go back, like Osuna said, the Jews actually have right to land because that's the way. Is it Torah? They said
The
that or
Torah.
something. The Torah. They said something about having that bit is. I don't know why they think that bit
Yeah,
is their land. I don't know. I'm
It's
not.
because God promised them
Yeah,
that
Jerusalem. Yeah,
land.
yeah,
God
Jerusalem.
promised them.
Yeah, but
Well, it
we can't
wasn't
talk
called.
about.
It's not called
Yeah,
Jerusalem in the Torah. It's called Canaan.
yeah, the
yeah, we
area
talk.
itself. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
you know, Masjid Aqsa. That's in Jerusalem, right? That's the occupied bit. I'm not exactly
What?
100% on this. Masjid the Aqsa, the mosque.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah,
That's
British
what.
gave Palestinians that in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
okay.
divide.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah, yeah,
in.
all of that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Just making sure. It's fine.
yeah. But
I
that
don't.
Jerusalem's technically it doesn't belong to anyone.
Yeah, it's just a land for everyone, isn't it? Don't matter, but
It's an international region.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it should be a free thing to
Yeah,
anyone can
But
come and
then,
pray there.
I don't want to bring this up again. But during last year when it was Ramadan, the IDF soldiers put tear gas while the Muslims were praying.
See
Now,
that I don't know. I haven't
no,
researched that. I have no idea.
that actually
yeah.
happened.
That is true. That is true.
So I
That,
mean,
but
yeah,
but that wasn't the IDF. I
who
don't
was
think
it
that
then?
was the IDF. I think those were Zionists. Those were extremist Zionists that did it.
I thought it was IDF. Anyways, that like I said, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just pointing
yeah.
out there, innit? Anyways, let's
that's the
move on.
problem at the end of the day. We don't know if it's the IDF or if it's extremists or what the
Let's
media is
move on,
telling
Also,
man.
us who did who.
also, also, we should. There is a debate about. So you know the lost tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that, Solomon? The lost tribes
No,
of
I've
Israel.
never heard of that before.
So they're basically the people that originally owned this whole area, right?
Mm,
Supposedly, we don't have any historical
yeah,
evidence for it. It only
mm,
talks about it in the Torah,
yeah.
right? And the Torah says that Jews living today are the descendants of those tribes of Israel, right?
Okay, yeah.
Oh
But
yeah, I've heard this.
Muslims disagree. Muslims
Okay,
disagree and say, well, the academic Muslims say that actually the lost tribes of Israel migrated further east and became what we recognize as Muslims today.
okay.
Yeah, don't
Inter-
Arabs think they also descended as well?
Yeah. So there's a disagreement about who
So we don't
comes
even
from the
know.
lost. Who comes from the lost? The Jews say it's us. The Arabs say it's them. So
Of
it's a
course, yeah.
really interesting. So when you say Solomon, originally it belonged to
Yeah,
the Jews. What you mean is originally it belonged to the Israelites. But who are the Israelites
yeah,
now? Who are the Israelites now? That's the argument, you know.
That's
yeah.
Who is
why I
it now?
say history
That's
is
a
not a
good.
good idea or indicator on who the land belongs
Yeah,
to.
yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying. Because
I don't think
after all
Palestine
these,
has a right to the land, just straight up. They don't just get the land. It's not just their land.
yeah,
Like it
but
wasn't even Palestine, it was
yeah,
Philistine, based on
yeah,
the
Philistine.
Greeks. Like
Well,
so, you know,
it was named the Philistines from the Assyrians.
it was called Syria, Palestina or something. Was that the name?
Yeah, but they called
Syria,
it they called
Palestina.
they called it they called it Philistine basically because the Philistines were Greeks who were historically the adversaries of Jews.
Mm,
So
Yeah,
there's a bit of a, you know,
it
yeah,
was
there's a
like a thing. What's called forget what the word for it is. There's like petty in it. It's like kind of like that petty.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's petty, but yeah. So the historical debate is a problem, but we do recognize that. Yeah, we recognize that there are problems on both sides. We
Okay.
all
There
recognize
was
that.
one thing we actually forgot to talk about, and that was the other Arab nations and why they don't help.
Oh, okay.
the thing is with this, I'm gonna start getting pissed off because I just think, but
I can start us off with some facts if you want.
yeah, go on, Ibrahim. I was,
All right, Sullivan, take your deep breaths,
yeah,
please.
yeah.
Yeah, relax,
Sorry.
relax.
Okay, so the reason I don't think Arab countries will help is because I believe the Palestinians cause trouble pretty much everywhere, and you can see this quite often in the history. So I'm just going to give some examples. Kuwait,
Yeah.
they expelled 300,000 Palestinians in 1991 because elected leaders for Palestinians in Kuwait supported Saddam Hussein's invasion, and they even aided him as well. Palestinians in Jordan wanted Jordan's king removed. The Palestinian Liberation Organization had armies in Jordan. They raided for financial assistance against Israel. The PFLP, Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine, even hijacked planes. So in 1970, Jordan's army declared war on the PLO and they drove the Palestinians out. But the Black September group, which is also a Palestinian terrorist group, assassinated the prime minister in the meantime. In Lebanon, the Palestinians attempted to overthrow the Lebanese government, flooding the country with militants, causing a civil war. So why would they help them? I think the Arabs know their history. They know that helping Palestinians isn't great for their countries. That's the reason
Okay.
I believe the Arabs don't help.
All right, Solomon, what do you think?
Um, I think the most thing is about money, innit? Let's be real. That's the main thing. Because they give oil and whatnot. That's the main point of everything, apart from the history, obviously, is money. That's like if is all the Arab countries start going Palestine, what happened to all the money that will come into the country? You understand?
What will
I
happen?
don't know.
What's sorry, one second. Yeah, so like that's like I think that's the main center of everything. From history, obviously, the
So what are
money.
you saying? What are you saying exactly?
How do I word this?
Are you
You know
saying
what?
that
Of
the Arab countries are bad then? They're selfish.
course they are, bro. Of course. All they care about is money, innit? Oil.
Okay,
They
fine.
just
I
trade,
think that if they took
trade.
Palestinians in, it would be free workers though. They could just treat them like shit and make them work on whatever they want, innit?
Exactly. So
Like how they did with the Qatar
Qatar, I
World
know.
Cup.
I
Indians
know. Yeah,
like to do
yeah,
with
I know.
Yeah,
Indians.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could
Yeah.
do the same thing with Palestinians. I don't think it's a
Exactly.
money thing.
What?
I don't know.
Okay. So you know that that's a good argument, Ibrahim. I hear that. Uh, you know the Egyptian comedian. He made an argument for why that doesn't happen.
Oh, Basim.
Yeah, yeah. He said that he thinks it's because it's doing exactly what Israel wants, right?
Yeah,
If
true.
if these Arab countries open up their borders to Palestine, Israel's issue, not just with Hamas, but Palestine is gone. Do you get it?
Yeah, that sounds like a great thing to me.
No, that's
The Palestinian lives, they get to live somewhere
but
else, don't have to live under oppression.
now the nation of Palestine evaporates, doesn't it?
I guess we should open up a portion of Egypt, the new Florida, and give them a section, shouldn't we?
Well, Egypt won't do that because that's their land, isn't it?
Why would Florida do it then?
So because America backs Israel and everything.
Yeah, but they wouldn't take. I don't know. It's still their land. They can only help
Well,
so much.
how about instead of giving them 200 billion, why not just give them some land? Probably cheaper anyway.
I don't think the Israelis would even accept it anyway.
Well, yeah, well that's because they hate each other so much now. But yeah, so those are the
Mm.
two I'd say two main arguments that I've heard. Obviously, everyone is selfish in those areas.
Yeah.
So you're right that maybe they don't want Palestinians because there's a bit of discrimination against them as a people, right?
Mm.
And
They've also just caused
also,
trouble everywhere.
well, supposedly, so obviously, I don't like, dividing people by their nationality and saying that this nationality are troublemakers. Do
Yeah,
you
of
see how that can
course.
be problematic? It's like me saying, well, all Pakistanis are, I don't know, like inbred. Like,
It's not right, but it is a reason. Like, I don't expect them to be very moral over there, to be honest.
well, yeah, well, your standard of morality in the West, innit?
Exactly.
So yeah, that's the main arguments I've heard. Yeah.
So Suleiman, what do you so you thought about money,
Yeah,
like
that's
Sona,
I
you
feel like
thought because of what they believe, like they don't want Palestine to die. That's
mm,
your
Yeah,
reasoning.
as a nation, they don't want to give in
Yeah.
to Israel. Yeah.
So this is again very theoretical. There's no arguing here.
yeah, I
Yeah, yeah,
know.
100%. We don't really know what they're saying. I'm
Yeah,
assuming it's a mixture of all three in
Yeah.
reality. In reality, it's just well, where we're gonna fund all these homeless people, so there's a money issue. And
Yeah.
also Palestinians are troublemakers, so there's a bit of discrimination there. And also we don't want to give what Israel wants. It's a mixture of all three, certainly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so we'll take that one off. We talked about is peace even possible? We talked about Sweden, we talked about a third two-state solution, everything like that, right?
mm,
So I
Mm,
can take that one off. We did
yeah,
not talk about the West Bank. So
okay.
this is an argument that I hear quite often that I think Suleiman you probably agree with.
Mm.
So the argument is, why do people in the West Bank die if Hamas isn't over there?
yeah.
Suleiman, you
That's the
probably heard
argument.
that one, right?
Yeah, that's the argument I heard quite a lot actually. Mm.
So Suleiman, I haven't debunked this. That I wouldn't have brought it up if I didn't.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
no.
so do you want to get into this or do you not want to get into this? It's up to
Because
you.
then it's just gonna be the same circle again, isn't it? You agree or I believe. You believe like there's no. I don't know. Should we? I
All right,
don't
well,
know.
I'll just make
It's
my
just
point and then we'll just move on, I guess, if you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have a
yeah.
point.
Just make a point, bro. Like it's the same.
Because
I
I
believe.
want people to know it. I want people to hear
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
why.
yeah. Go on. Go on.
So Hamas, that's wrong, by the way. Hamas is in the West Bank. They don't govern it, but they are there. And there are attacks constantly occurring from there. And also there's other terrorist groups too. PLO, PFLP, and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And there's actually like a few more as well. So
Would
that's
you would
why there's
you
actual deaths happening.
would you call the PLO a terrorist group?
Uh, well, I've seen that they do commit acts of terror. Again, we're falling back into media and we don't know. But they have committed acts of terrorism according to my sources. So I
Right,
would.
okay. But they
If
don't
they
they
haven't,
don't
then they're not.
they don't reject the idea of Israel existing though anymore.
That's the thing, yeah. They don't reject the idea, but if they're committing terrorist activities, then they are terrorists at the end of the day.
Uh, Okay, well, as long as you agree that Israel is too, innit?
Yeah, I mean Hamas is infinitely worse, of course. I think I'd
Whoa,
much
whoa,
rather
whoa.
have PLO than Hamas in there if they could be negotiated with. But I
Yeah,
mean,
that's fair.
who's to say,
That's
right?
fair.
Who's to say?
Mm,
Um, we did sort of talk about this, but this is a very, very common talking point in media and in debates. And you've probably both heard this, but what is a proportionate response
mm.
for Israel? That's something you've probably both heard because it's a very
Yeah,
common question. So I
yeah.
guess we'll discuss it as well. We have sort of discussed this, but what do you not think is a proportionate response for Israel? This does overlap with what should Israel do, but we should mention it, I think.
Go on, Solomon. You should go first this time. Where's he gone? Has he disappeared?
He's going to take some deep breaths.
All
He's going
right.
to
So,
find my IP address.
a proportionate response. Uh,
It's a hard one, isn't it?
I don't think we can really talk about that as a
Yeah,
like meaningfully
I
say
think the
what
same.
is and what isn't because we're not army generals. We don't know what's going on. You
Exactly.
know.
So,
But we do condemn them though.
but that's why I'm saying that's topic because I don't know. They could have. I don't know, innit? They
I'll
could
be
have.
honest. Yeah, I'll be honest. Condemning doesn't do anything.
Yeah, yeah, but if we condemn them, then we should have like a okay, we condemn
Condemning,
them because they don't do this or that
condemning,
or this.
condemning, condemning is virtue signaling.
Yeah,
If
I
you
mean,
condemn- Oh,
we're using it to show our
I
points.
condemn this. Okay, there you go.
if you if
Thanks.
you if you are on the side that IDF is wrong, IDF is evil, then what would you suggest the proportionate response should be? Like, because clearly what they're doing is not, according to some people, not proportionate. Obviously it's very nuanced. We don't know exactly. But to terrorism, if we just take it in a vacuum for a sec, for terrorism, what is a proportionate response? To me, I don't think there is a proportionate response. But
Yeah,
in the context of Palestine, there kind of has to be, sort of, in a way. Because obviously, I have no mercy for terrorists. I think all of them should be killed. I have no mercy for Hamas. But you can't do that without killing civilians as well.
well, I kind of have a little bit of mercy for
Really?
because they've been indoctrinated.
Yeah, but I don't
When
know.
you
It's
harbor that much hatred, it's because you've been told to be that hateful, right? So yeah,
yeah. Well,
you can hate what they do, but I don't think you should hate the person because you don't know what's up with them.
if someone was fully trained, like fully trained from day one, taught, this is how life is, and then they came in and they murdered your family, would you have mercy on them then? Would you say,
Uh
okay,
no, no, of course not. But I'd understand. I'd understand why
you
they
can
are what they
understand, but
are.
also not want mercy for them? That's how I feel. Like
Yeah,
it's
but
not right, but they should still be
obviously,
killed, all of them.
personal things cloud your judgment in it. So
True.
that's the problem. Anyway, Solomon, yeah, what
That's
do you think
that's
is
why I
a
don't like the your house argument as well. Like if they came into your house, like
what do you think is a proportionate response, Solomon?
What does that mean? Like, portion, like
So
what? So,
like to the terrorism, what do you think Israel should
yeah,
do? Like, so
hard.
after Hamas killed people
Yeah,
and did stuff, what do you think Israel should do?
yeah. In exchange, what should their proportionate response be?
Yeah.
it's hard. It's quite a hard question because then if I say something, you're gonna catch me out. I need to be careful. I need
No,
to be
you shouldn't
careful.
think
welcome,
like that.
welcome to
You
welcome
shouldn't
to
think like
No,
infinity.
that. No, but
no,
that's the
because
problem. You shouldn't think
because
like that. You should always be trying to get to the truth,
yeah, I know,
regardless
I
of
know, I
whether
know.
you're wrong or not.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
the thing is, I know we talked about Hamas and how they, as you know, they hide and stuff. But the thing is that like how many people they've killed, Hamas. I don't know how many compared to the what was the thing I saw? I can't remember now. It was a long
Well,
time ago.
compared to how many Israelis have died.
But no, man, for flip's sake, no. It's I saw it's that the proportionate response. I can't
We can
remember
come
now.
back to you if you want. We can come
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to you if you
yeah,
want.
yeah. Okay, come back to me.
I won't circle it off. Suleiman, with the moment you get it, just interject and tell us.
Yeah,
So
no
I'm
worries.
not
Yeah,
gonna I'm not gonna circle it off.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but me and Sona have given our opinions.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've talked about who deserved the land historically, because we can't actually, that's okay. From here we're going into more miscellaneous stuff. So now we're
You know
gonna
what?
start
You
talking
know
about.
what? You know what?
We have
I've
20
I've
minutes, by
I've
the way.
actually forgotten. I've actually forgotten what I was gonna say. Leave it. It's not
All right,
important anyway.
I'll
I'll just
take it
move
off
on,
then.
bro. Yeah.
So our last 2 points are regarding the Free Palestine movement and
Hmm.
Ukraine. So we'll start, I guess, with Free Palestine movement. So just a bit of context. There's quite a few marches that have occurred in the India-Australia final for the Cricket World Cup. A Free Palestine marcher came in and interrupted it, very similar to Just Stop Oil in a similar way. So, and also McDonald's and I believe it was Starbucks have been boycotted and a few others as well. So these are the kinds of approaches that they're taking. Do you not think that this movement is achieving anything whatsoever?
So you can go first.
Um, yes and no. As always, it's always nuanced.
Yeah.
um, yes, because people hear about it, they want to learn more about it,
Raise
more
awareness.
informed, raise awareness, and it puts pressure on the government for change. This is just a general principle for all movements, right? Uh,
Oh, I don't know.
second, no, because it's breeding a lot of hatred towards Jews,
But
and
it's
it's
not. It's
caused
not just Jews though. It's quite a Islamophobia that's the rise as well. since this
Yeah, yeah,
happened.
not
Yeah, I
comparably.
know.
Because there are
Yeah,
way more Muslims, bro.
The Muslims have a louder voice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, much louder, much
yeah,
louder.
yeah, of course, yeah,
So
yeah, I understand that.
so the rise in hatred towards Jews has
Mm.
come up, and also when you see these guys doing stupid things and saying stupid things like "kill all Jews" or
Yeah, that's a stupid, bro.
Setting rats
releasing
free in McDonald's.
releasing rats, that okay. So these are crazy people, right?
Yeah.
And it undermines the whole movement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Okay,
gonna say
exactly.
that.
Yeah, 100%.
and also it's going to get more attention than it actually does
Yeah,
because that's what the media does, doesn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
The media will focus on that. Doesn't matter what.
Mm.
You can talk about equality this, equality that, but if one person's doing something really stupid, the media's going to all focus on
Mm. Mm.
that. So that's the side bit. It raises awareness, but it also gives opportunities for
Yeah,
idiots
100%. Yeah,
to
Yeah.
undermine it.
yeah, that's true.
I think the way I would go about it is I want to compare it to Just Stop Oil. So Just Stop Oil is very similar. They interrupt games. They stop people from going. I don't
Actually,
think Pre-Palestine is sitting in the middle of the roads exactly, but
yeah, that's what.
that's
Yeah.
what they're doing. That's what Just Stop Oil does, right? And their argument for it is, well, we tried, but um, people won't listen, so we need to do things that will annoy the public because it will get us attention. And I think things like letting go of rats and things like that, it does the same thing. The problem I have with Free Palestine is who are you raising awareness to? The only people, everyone knows about the conflict. The only people you're raising awareness to with your
The government.
actions are people who dislike you because
Mm.
you're giving a bad impression of yourselves.
Yeah, true,
That's
100%.
the problem I have with it. Also,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, protesting in front of an Israeli embassy is achieving zero, and politicians are only going to listen to they'll say things because they know that people have the attention span of a goldfish, and like we saw this with Boris Johnson as well. Boris Johnson was under a huge amount of fire, but then the Ukraine war happened, and he condemned Russia, and there was a common enemy, and suddenly everyone was on his side again. Politicians don't care. I'm sorry. They
No,
know
that.
that people are stupid. They know that these movements aren't going to work. It
Mm.
purely serves as a waste of time. I'm sorry. I don't think it
Um,
achieves anything.
what I was gonna say is that the protests they've done the last couple of weeks, like that basically that massive one. I think it
Yeah,
has
yeah,
showed
yeah.
a lot awareness, but as a person who's, I think now it's got to the point where like why like they're not gonna listen to you. Like someone who's pro-Palestine, that's my thinking. Like from the beginning when it started, yeah, I can understand. But you keep doing these marches, but
Nothing
obviously
happens.
you still want to create awareness and whatnot. But like it's just I don't know. Innit? It just depends. It's just it's just how people
S-
are on it. You
Silman,
want to
you've
keep
attended marches yourself, haven't you?
yeah, yeah, just one, um, just one of them. It
Can I
wasn't
ask
the yeah. Go
like what
on.
your
It was
experience was?
you know what? It wasn't actually too bad to be honest. There was quite a lot of people as well. Um,
Like what did you do?
because one that I went to was a not a vigil. What do you call it? Like a rally. So we didn't actually march anywhere. So
Ah,
they had like speakers and stuff. Um, they had like speakers and stuff talking about Palestine, stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically what it was. But there was quite a lot of troublemakers there, obviously, as always is.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
just gotta be careful and just don't do anything stupid. That's what I said. The media will just make the whole protest. That's every protest. You get idiots like
Yeah.
that. You spout kill Jews, just say stupid stuff, just for what? You know, you're actually making the cause worse than it actually is. You're making
Yeah.
people hate the Palestine movement even more. You understand? So you don't need to do that. So
That's why I say a movement's core life force is its reputation. Like, I
yeah,
mean, even thinking about it nowadays, feminism is a complete joke because of some crazy people who,
yeah,
spout ridiculous stuff. It's just some crazies, but their voice is loud enough that the entire movement has suffered. And it's the same here as well. You're better
yeah,
off not protesting rather than because you're harming your cause more. Same thing with LGBTQ again as well. Pride Month, everyone was fine with it, and then all of a sudden, twerking, sexualization, like this stuff happens. Like
yeah.
it it ruins it for you.
That's well, what can you do?
What
There's
can you do?
people
I
out
mean,
there.
I've
There's
spoken to
people
some
out
people
there.
who've gone to rallies and marches,
Yeah.
and from what I've seen, it's just marching, shouting, and then go home. That's it.
No, but you still, but then with the government, you still trying to raise awareness. I know. The thing, I
Yeah,
know nothing. Listen, I know they probably won't do anything because they won't. They don't care. They get their money, their bags, they go home.
yeah,
But
they get the bag.
it's just about it's just about awareness about what's happening. It's just
Y-
it's the emphasis as well.
You
Because
know what?
yeah, go on. Sorry.
The only thing for me, the only thing the movement achieves is that it shows how many people are in solidarity with Palestine. Like if I was in Palestine, it wouldn't help much, to be honest. But if I saw a million people standing up and cheering for my
Yeah,
country, I
yeah,
think that would morally boost me quite a bit.
yeah,
That's the only thing
yeah.
I can think of.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
Suleiman, what were you gonna say? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, actually, no. That's it. That's what I was gonna say. That
Oh,
was the main
perfect.
thing. Yeah,
We're on the
yeah,
same wavelength. All right,
cool.
Sonia, you want to add anything else before we move on to our final part? We have 10 minutes left.
Um, in terms of what I actually think will happen,
Mhm.
um, uh, I think Israel will probably eventually beat Palestine.
Of course.
Probably.
Yeah, almost certainly. It's got too much backing. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
the UK doesn't even recognize Palestine as a country. The US doesn't either. Um,
yeah.
so there we go, innit? It's just gonna happen.
Do you so actually regarding this point, so there's a point on here. It's called "Has freedom of speech been taken away?" This was suggested to me by Suleiman. Suleiman,
Yeah,
I think you should explain what you meant by this and like
yeah.
start this one
So
off because
yeah,
yeah, you know, innit?
yeah, yeah. So when we talk about freedom of speech, talking about saying what you think is right, innit?
Yeah,
So so when this whole Palestine thing happened, there's people losing their jobs. You can't say anything about Palestine. But then when it was Ukraine, oh, I'm sorry, massive flags outside houses. Let's go Ukraine. But when it comes to Palestine, nah, you can't do that. It's hypocrisy
okay.
again. It's the same thing. Like it's the same. You can't. It's double standards. You can't have one thing for one and not for another. You understand?
I'll say
Like you
one
can't.
thing.
Yeah, go on.
There's many celebrities who stood in solidarity with Israel who are fully cancelled for
Yeah, I
supporting them.
know. Yeah, I know. There are
And
loads.
also, I think if you sided with Ukraine, yeah, perfect. If you sided with Russia, yeah, you were in some hot water as well. I don't think it was
Exactly.
exactly equal because you can't compare the conflicts exactly
No, but it
completely. They're not
doesn't.
comparable.
No, but no. I'm just talking about like when you're like I'm just talking when you're allowed to say something. You're not actually allowed to say it. That's
Yeah,
that's my point. That's one of the freedom of speech.
That
Like
happens
you
with
feel
everything,
what?
though.
Yeah,
That
that's
happens
what
with
I'm trying to
everything.
say. So,
I mean, I mentioned that at the
like,
beginning of the episode as well. Like, I received
yeah,
so much hate for my belief. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but that's not just with Israel Palestine. That happens with everything.
yeah. I
everything,
know.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
You can't go to my uni and start telling people that there's only two genders.
Same with
You'll
nah,
mine,
get
that's
honestly.
you'll
yeah,
get
bro.
ended. You'll
No,
get
I
Yeah,
would
ended.
love
100%.
to.
You'll get
I would
cancelled
love to.
100%. So free speech, you're right. Also, same with religion. I
Yeah,
can,
Same.
I can cuss Christianity all day long, but the second I do Islam, it's over,
yeah.
bro.
People will
It's
Yeah.
get
over.
okay.
It's
But I
over.
People
don't.
people tend to forget that ideas don't have rights, so we
Yeah,
can
Yeah.
critique them.
yeah,
People have rights. You can't critique,
Is it,
like, if I can't
everyone's
go and critique my neighbor, but I can critique Islam and be fine with it.
yeah. That's exactly right. When people, so by the way, yeah, I have this issue. Yeah, Solomon, don't think of me differently because of
no,
this,
no,
because I
no,
know,
no, no,
I
no,
don't know.
no, no, no. No,
When
but
people,
what you're saying is right though. They don't
yeah,
respect
but
your opinion.
what I'm gonna say now is
Yeah,
probably you're probably not gonna agree with, but
yeah,
it's genuine because you want free
yeah,
speech, right?
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
When people tell me you should respect each other's beliefs, yeah,
Yeah.
to me that's really dumb,
okay.
Same.
right? What they should say is you should respect the other person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
So
understand. I agree.
when someone tells me respect Islam, for example, I'm using Islam as an example. When someone
Mm,
tells me to respect Islam, and I tell them, but I can't because
yeah,
I see it as wrong,
yeah,
right?
you believe it. Yeah, believe it's wrong. What can you do, bro?
I believe it's
Yeah.
wrong. So when you're telling me to respect it, I'm like, bro, but I can't respect something that I believe is inherently wrong,
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah.
I believe I
But
shouldn't respect it. Respect my
but
belief.
if they told me, yeah, if they told me respect the Muslim, respect the person who believes it, yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I
that's
res-
yeah,
I
100%. I
respect you
agree with it.
as a
I agree
human.
with you, bro.
You have a right to practice what you want to practice, but you can't
Yeah,
tell me to respect what you believe because I
yeah, yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like,
know, I
you know
know,
what I
I
mean?
know. I understand. I understand.
People tend to forget that it's ideas and it's the specific famous people as well that you can critique. So, for example, Islam and Muhammad. You can criticize Muhammad. That's fine. That's not hateful. That's you can do it. That's allowed.
No,
That's not
but
some sort of
you'll
you
get
can
ended
do
for
it.
it.
You
You'll get
can do
ended
it.
for it.
But if you do it, Islam's a religion of peace, as we all know. These peaceful Muslims will come and kill you. So don't do that. But aside from
Well,
that,
no,
obviously,
I'm sure most Muslims would.
yeah.
Most Muslims are regular people,
Thankfully, we live in
but
the West, so
no, but even then, you'll still probably get attacked for it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
100%. I can't come out. If you wanted me to, I can't come out and tell you all the problems I have with the Prophet Muhammad, because there are a lot of problems I have.
There's
Yeah,
many. Yeah,
there's many, but I can't tell you all of them because some Muslims will absolutely like they'll take it
come
personally,
after
and
you. Yeah,
I might get murdered. Seriously, like I have to watch out for my safety. But I can do the same with
again, yeah.
Jesus. I can do the same with Jesus. I can cuss Jesus all day long, but I won't be afraid of a Christian coming to kill me. Why is that?
It's
You
Why is
know,
that?
it's, it's true.
I don't know.
You're right.
This way,
You can't even
you
say
know.
anything else. Obviously, there are some Christians who would, but it's not a large majority.
So that's
Christianity is
the
very modernized now. That's the thing.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's why it's the most
You
successful,
can
in my
modernize it.
opinion.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
done
You can
very
modify it.
it's
People
done
that
very well.
pe- people that just want to go and kill you, they're just stupid.
Yeah,
People that wanna that debate like we're doing now, as a human, to human, without any aggression, then yeah,
yeah.
trying to
Debate
get
to gain knowledge.
yeah. So it's not that. It's just yeah. That's just the way it is.
I
Yeah.
said this I said this before, but people turn their beliefs into their personality, and they deny that, but it's true. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
So
when you criticize Islam to a Muslim, the Muslim doesn't see, oh, he's criticizing my idea. He's saying, oh, he's criticizing me. That's
Yeah.
what they see. So,
Yeah.
oh, I need to defend myself. Like
To be fair,
that's not
to
what's
be fair,
happening.
it is quite difficult to separate yourself from your religion. Like
Very true.
even though I'm an atheist, right? I don't believe in God, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I've grown up in a Sikh household, and there's pictures of the gurus everywhere, and I've grown up with stories about the gurus. So even now, when someone criticizes Sikhism, which never happens because not enough people know about Sikhism, so they don't really have any objections, right?
It's hard to criticize when it's so philosophical.
Well, well, but
It's just a lot of thinking that happens.
there are some critiques that I have, but
Yeah.
when someone does it, even then I still feel a little tinge of like, oh man, you're kind of I don't like that. Even though I know I
Yeah.
shouldn't, even though I know I shouldn't, it's true. It's just because it feels like, oh man, you're kind of invalidating everything that I've gone through, But I hear it.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. You're right. People ascribe
We all have
their beliefs to
emotions,
them. Yeah,
but we should
yeah,
learn to control them. That's the
yeah. One
fact.
hundred percent. One
And,
hundred percent.
I thought it was a common adult thing to be able to control them, but when it comes to politics, everyone seems to make an exception to it. It's very
Mm,
weird. It's very strange. And,
mm.
there's not much we can do about it, to be honest. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's a very sad reality that we live in.
yeah. We're not born with hate. We learn how to hate.
Exactly, yeah.
We
I mean,
learn
I
it
mean,
from
just
people.
I don't want to speak too much about this, but regarding my experience when I was extremely Muslim, I hated non-Muslims. I hated atheists. I genuinely did. Well, I didn't, obviously, if there was one next to me, I wouldn't go in and kill them, but I did have that sort of I'm better than you idea.
Yeah.
And that's gone away now. Like, it's just when you grow up, when you become an adult, these things should happen, but it doesn't for some people.
With a lot of people, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. It's
Yeah,
sad.
well, yeah, a lot of
It's really
people. It's
sad.
very sad.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Anyway, yeah.
We,
So,
we have, well,
the
actually, that's the
double.
end of the time.
No, what Solomon said about the what's it called, the
Yeah,
hypocrisy.
we can go
He's
over.
right. He is right, by the way, about hypocrisy. There is hypocrisy, 100%. Uh, um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whenever
Of course.
whenever we hear about conflict in Europe, it's always a much bigger deal. It's always a much bigger deal, right?
Yeah,
Because you can argue why. There are some arguments for being race oriented, right?
I was gonna say that,
That
yeah.
it's white people backing other white people, and they see themselves and they think, oh, bro, this isn't Africa or anything, So we've got to
I
like
see, yeah.
report on it more. So that's a I hear that as well. At the same time, there is a lot of hypocrisy from the Palestinian movement
Yeah.
because like you said, whenever it's Muslim on Muslim,
I
whenever
know.
it's one Muslim
crickets.
country attacking another Muslim country, it's not a big deal.
It's just crickets, yeah.
Yeah. So there's hypocrisy everywhere we look, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's the
From
sadness
what
of
I've
it.
seen, there's two arguments that people go to for this. The first one is immigrants. We are
Mm.
much more willing to take Ukrainian immigrants than Palestinian ones. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have to agree that I would much rather have Ukrainian ones. They're European, they're familiar. That's not great, but we know that's how human psychology is. A lot of them, for example, in Poland, Polish and Ukrainian is very similar languages. So you can go in and get a job quickly because you can learn the language in like a few months. Things like that. And also Arabs have a very bad stereotype. It's not good, but that is the case. And there's a lot of
Yeah, but
illegal
East,
immigrants that come in, and that's what causes that.
Eastern Europeans have stereotypes about them too,
Oh yeah, don't
right?
even get me started
They
on that.
don't
But like,
they don't always assimilate immediately, right?
mm,
The Eastern Europeans, at least with the stereotypes that I've heard, they're known for being loud, right? They're known for having no British like manners. They're known for being messy eaters, for avoiding tax, for doing every single time they always do manual labor. That's it. So, and for being rude. These are all critiques. These are all problems. So it can't be that, oh, it's just that they don't share our values. Both don't share
yeah.
our values. So it has to be something else, and it's got to be. A lot of people say it must be race. Then it must
Trust me,
be.
I've worked as someone who's worked in a cinema. I have never had a good Romanian customer ever. I genuinely can speak from this. I have never had a good experience with a Romanian. Like it's crazy. Like it honestly, I've never. It's so surprising. The kids are unruly. We always kick them out. The adults are crazy. Like they don't teach their kids anything. I don't know what's
Well,
going on over there,
that's
but
what I'm
there's
saying.
definitely a reason for that stereotype. I
It's a
think
difference
there's
of culture. It's a difference of culture, isn't it?
yeah, but
So
at the
then
same time,
why are they welcomed more in than
because I think
Palestinians?
they're more familiar because they're Europeans. They're more familiar
I.e.,
to us.
i.e., it's race driven. It's
Pretty
racist.
much, yeah. That's my explanation for it. That's why I think it happens.
So you do think it's racist then?
But I
There
think
are
that's a
some.
psycho. I think that's a psychological. Yeah, it's racism, but I think it's a psychological reason. I don't think it's because oh yeah, we hate Palestinians and we love Ukrainians.
It's an
I think
unintentional racism.
if Palestine was in Europe, it'd be the same thing. I think
It's
it's just that's how it is.
unconscious racism.
Pretty much, yeah. That's my explanation for it. Obviously, that's just me giving a theory, but that's what I think.
A few. Anyway,
That's yeah. That's the one
so
idea. I think the other one is just that oh, we give we support, we condemn Ukraine, like we condemn Russia, and then we don't do the same with Israel. That's the other side of it,
fair,
right?
fair, fair. All right, let's. I
But
think we should wrap up now. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, for a
yeah,
long
but yeah,
time.
just to say
Oh,
that one is just a difference in opinion. You will condemn the side you disagree with. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
about
So
it.
closing statements.
Are we all friends, guys?
of course.
No, no, man. I'm always
What?
independent contractor.
You know I'm bigger than you. I'll come after you, Sona.
Why are you lying to our audience for?
That's not true.
Leave that. See,
My,
so
my
much disinformation like this. So much.
yeah, look at me. You can't trust a word I've said in this podcast now that I've lied here.
What if we told you that this was all AI? It was all artificial intelligence.
We're not even real. We're
We're
genuine. We're not
not
even
real.
real. We
Yeah,
don't
we're not
exist.
real. We're not real.
You guys have been bamboozled.
I
But
quite
anyway,
possibly.
my closing statement is be nice to each other, lads. Let's just I know we have conflicting opinions, but I pretty much said everything I needed to say in my point about, don't make your beliefs personal. Talk to people as people. Don't label them as, oh, that guy's an Israeli supporter. I can't like him. Trust me, I've seen many people who cut other people off because of their beliefs, and it's like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? That's my final closing statement, to be honest.
Solomon?
Yeah, I don't know anything else to say. I said everything that I need to say, and you know what side I'm on. That's it. You know what I was gonna say. I don't want to bring any other. It's something that I've got to say, but I don't want to say it now because obviously we've been for a long time. But yeah, it's a good
No, man,
show.
if you want, just message
Yeah,
it to me.
yeah.
I'll add it to the description.
All
We
right,
could just
that's
add
fine.
as a note.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. All right. Anyway,
Uh,
guys.
Sona?
for me, I just think that I don't really. That's about it, isn't it? Really.
Cool.
Solomon, mute
Thank you,
yourself.
lads. Thank you, lads, so much for joining us for season 2. It's been a very good season. And
Wow,
here's
wow.
to a
Yeah.
great season 3.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll be starting off with racism, and then the second episode is going to be a very cool idea that I have that you guys are going to be blown away by. So,
Supposedly.
supposedly. All right, hang
Okay.
on.
Cool.
I gotta close the Discord.
Okay.
All right. You have been watching Infallible. We will see you next time. Bye for now. You guys still aren't saying bye ever.
Oh, bye.
Nope. No, I don't say bye.
Some things never change.